and kick in when the daily average of illegal crossings between ports of entry hits 2,500, senior officials say.
This ban will remain in place until the number of people trying to enter illegally is reduced to a level that our system can effectively manage.
The president says Congress still needs to fix the system, but that for now he's moving past Republican obstructionism. Republicans say the timing is political.
The Biden administration has waited nearly its entire term before lifting a finger to address the open borders anarchy that it invited.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, as each side accuses the other of being not serious about border security. Day 2 of the federal gun trial for President Biden's son Hunter in Delaware, an FBI agent, the prosecution's first witness.
They're playing an awful lot of excerpts from Hunter Biden's audiobook where he discusses his drug use. They're trying to build that case that when Hunter Biden filled out that form back in 2018 to purchase a gun, that he lied on it and said that he was not a drug user when, in fact, he was.
Fox's Rich Edson at the courthouse in Wilmington. The defense says prosecutors must prove he knowingly violated the law and that he is not guilty. An open letter to tech companies urging stronger protections for whistleblowers who flag safety risks about artificial intelligence. A group of OpenAI's current and former workers calling on the ChatGPT maker and others to act so that researchers can raise concerns about AI development without fear of retaliation. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
When it could storm again, according to radar, that'd be sooner rather than later. Rain currently moving through south of Indy with more on the way from the west. Temperature drop below 70 tonight, currently 85 degrees. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. Dark clouds could bring some rain to your doorstep this afternoon.
We do have a fairly humid air mass in place, quite a bit of moisture in the atmosphere, so these storms will be capable of producing some pretty heavy downpours. Not expecting really high speeds with these storms.
Joe Neild with the National Weather Service on how severe these storms could be. They should be gone by tomorrow. An Indianapolis police officer was socked by a sock. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Jonathan Reinhardt is a homeless man in Indianapolis. 4 years ago, he was convicted of throwing bodily waste on a cop. This week, he flagged down an Indy Metro cop to tell him about a person driving a car who was harassing him. As the cop took the report, Reinhardt pulled a sock full of glass out of his pocket and hit the cop in the neck with it. Reinhardt was arrested, and the cop was treated at the scene and released. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A Greenfield police canine was hurt after a police chase Sunday night. Patrick Mix initially didn't stop for cops who say they tried to pull him over. When he did stop the car, Mix ran. Canine Ace was sent after him but was hit by another car on accident. Mix was eventually arrested by police. Ace is expected to be okay. The vote finished 16-8, with Indianapolis City County Council members giving the green light on a proposal for a new tax district designed to support a new soccer stadium where the Indy heliport is.
If we create this special tax district, it gives us the kind of advantage in order to get the MLS stadium. This is a chance of a lifetime.
Councilor Rob Gibson, Mayor Joe Hogsett wants a Major League Soccer team in Indianapolis. This proposal is one step closer to getting that. It goes to a state budget committee next. The parking lot of a jiu-jitsu gym, probably not the best place to break into a car. Security footage posted to Facebook at 10th Planet, Indianapolis, north of downtown, showed a man trying to do exactly that, and it did not end well. A teenager at the gym sized up the thief, threw him to the ground, and choked him unconscious using his jiu-jitsu training. The teenager was only a blue belt. His opponent is now recovering in the hospital. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
The laundry room. For as long as I can remember, this was the only place to get a good Wi-Fi connection. Until we got Xfinity. Now we have Wi-Fi all over the house. So, you're probably wondering why I'm still hanging out in here, when I could be happily streaming in the attic, basement, or literally any other room. Well, the truth is, it's warm in here. And I like the smell of dryer sheets.
Get out of here, weirdo.
Hey, close the door! You're letting cool air in.
That's wall-to-wall Wi-Fi with Xfinity. Now through June 21st, get started with 300 megabit internet for $35 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. And get free Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
With traffic on the 5s at 3:05. Good afternoon, Matt Bear.
Good afternoon, Harrison. Westbound as 70 already in bad shape from Shadeland Avenue past Earl Street. It has been most of the day as we are rerouting around that closure on the southeast side. The closure is southbound 465 from I-70 to I-65, and that's going on until the 21st of June, give or take a little bit. Inbound 65, stop and go at the White River again from 21st to Meridian Penn, and on the northeast side, inbound 69, a little bit of slow from 96 to 82nd. Traffic sponsored by Mr. Quick Home Services. Attention, Indy homeowners, is your cooling system ready for the heat? Don't sweat it. Mr. Quick Home Services has you covered with their special $89 cooling tune-up offer. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Partly cloudy skies throughout the afternoon. It's going to be warm and humid with highs in the mid-80s. Tonight, an isolated shower or thunderstorm possible with lows near 69. I'm Wish TV storm tracking meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is out. The gun guy, Guy Relford, 2A attorney, licensed firearms instructor, is in. Guy, how are you doing, my man?
Man, I'm great. No, I'm really thrilled to be here. I'm excited to sit in for Hammer.
Well, a couple of news breaking things to get to here first. Joe Biden obviously going to, sees his poll numbers taking a dump, so he's going to sign a couple of toothless executive actions to take a more direct approach at the border. We'll get into that later if you want. And I think he's doing that, again, because of poor polling, and immigration, especially illegal immigration, is a huge issue in this country. He's also doing this because today opening arguments have been delivered in the Delaware trial of his son, Hunter Biden, on the gun charges. So he's charged with lying about his illegal drug use when purchasing a handgun in 2018. And I saw your big, beautiful dome on cable news earlier today when I was flipping around talking about this. So you're a 2A attorney. What strikes you about this case, and what is the lawyers in terms of a defense planning to mount here?
Yeah, it's really interesting, Nige, because the allegation is pretty straightforward. When you go in to buy a gun, as Hunter did in 2018, you fill out a federal form. It's called the ATF Form 4473, and it asks you a series of questions. And those questions are designed to determine whether you're someone who can legally possess and therefore purchase a firearm. And there's a number of questions that, have you been convicted of a felony? It's worded, have you been convicted of a crime for which you could have been sentenced to over a year, which is a felony, and several other questions. One of those questions is, are you a user of or addicted to unlawful drugs? And if you answer yes to that question, you're not going to get your gun.
No.
If you answer no, and everything else checks out, you can buy your gun, but it is a crime to lie on that form. And in fact, it's a crime punishable by up to 10 years in federal prison. And there's two different versions of the crime. One is if you're lie on the form to induce the gun shop to sell you the gun, that's one crime. And then knowing that you're fabricating information on a form to be kept by that gun shop, that's a separate crime for the same action.
So people have gone to jail for this crime.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then the third count in the indictment, which I just reread this morning, is that you can't possess a gun if you're a user of or addicted to illegal drugs. So just by walking out of the gun shop with a gun in his possession, that's a third crime.
Okay.
And so that's what he's being accused of. The defense has really, I think, approached this in an interesting way. They had a big debate, big discussion in front of the judge about whether the prosecution has to prove that Hunter was actually intoxicated on illegal drugs at the time he bought the gun.
At the time he filled out the questionnaire?
At the time he filled out the questionnaire, exactly right. Or whether he was just generally a user of or addicted to illegal drugs in this general time frame. And
how can they pinpoint that down?
Pardon me?
How are they going to be able to pinpoint that down, the prosecution?
Well,
You know what I
that's
mean?
interesting. Part of it is through the infamous Hunter Biden laptop.
Sure. His
Because
book.
he's posting pictures. He's got messages coming and going. Part of it is his book.
Yeah.
Part of it are his media interviews that he gave, where he's talking about being addicted to cocaine in this exact time frame, and they're going to call witnesses in who said, "Oh yeah, I talked to him about his drug use. I sent this message, I received this message where he's talking about drug use." But here's the interesting play, and this is what I'm really going to be fascinated in how this unfolds in terms of watching this, and that is that the defense, I just read their trial brief this morning that was just filed a couple of days ago, and it says,
How do you get to read it?
Well,
is that out there for the public to read?
I'm not sure it's been publicly released, but I can get into the system through, as an attorney, I'm part of the electronic filing system for federal court, because I have federal cases. And so I got in, and I was actually reading the documents in the case.
That's pretty cool.
And and the defense trial brief is really interesting. And that is, it's saying, first of all, the prosecution cannot prove that Hunter was intoxicated on drugs at the time he bought the gun, on that particular day at that particular time. The judges said, well, they don't have to prove that. They just have to prove that he was a user of or addicted to drugs in this general time frame. But then they say, if that's the case, then the statute's unconstitutional as applied to Hunter, because under the new text, history, and tradition test the Supreme Court came down with in the Bruin case just a couple of years ago, there's no historical analog to the idea that you can be deprived of your Second Amendment rights because you generally use drugs or generally use alcohol. That there are historical analogs, examples of laws that say you can't possess a gun if you're drunk, if you're intoxicated, if you're high, but not if you just happen to use sometimes, but you're not using at the time you possess the gun.
I'm pretty sure Hunter used all the time back then.
I'm pretty sure that's true, but what's the evidence at trial going to be?
Right.
And so if unless the prosecution can say that he was intoxicated on drugs at the time he actually possessed a gun, the defense here has a really decent argument.
Well, one of the witnesses is Hunter's former girlfriend, the widow of his brother, Bo. She's going to be on the stand because she's the one that allegedly tossed his handgun in the trash.
Yeah, into a dumpster.
Behind a restaurant near a school. Joe Biden had a meeting with her behind closed doors pretty recently, and they say it was the anniversary of Bo's death. Biden's never met with her on the anniversary of Bo's death. That's ridiculous. I'm curious as to see what she's going to say. If he wasn't addicted to drugs, why the need to throw away the gun?
Well, yeah, I mean,
she's going to be able to testify probably one way or the other because she was a party to that whole situation.
I mean, that's the logical inference, right? Is that she took the gun away from Hunter and threw it in a dumpster because he was high, and she may have some other explanation. But by the way, if you meet with, talk to, have any interaction with a witness in a federal case, and you're trying to influence their testimony, that's a felony. That's witness tampering.
Well, look, I don't know what was said behind closed doors.
I don't know what was said.
It's pretty unusual. And it's also unusual that the first lady, Hunter's stepmom, was in court for the jury selection yesterday.
Yeah.
She's a mouthpiece for the White House. That's inappropriate, isn't it? I realize that's her stepson.
Yeah,
but then Joe Biden didn't leave Delaware yesterday. He stayed there as if to say, I mean, he wasn't at the jury selection, but as if to say, hey, we got our eyes on you.
He's lurking.
We're watching you. You better not mess with my son or my family. We're watching. And that just seems a little unusual to me.
Yeah, doesn't this feel like a lot like the Bill Clinton meeting on an airplane as Hillary was being investigated?
Yes.
Doesn't it? I mean, everybody's saying, oh, no, they didn't discuss, the potential indictment of Hillary. It feels a lot like that.
But you've seen people go to jail for this crime before.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's witness tampering. It is a federal crime. You interfere.
No. The gun charge.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I've defended the case so far successfully.
Okay.
Where you can prove someone didn't actually lie. But no, I've defended this exact case, not on the drug issue, but lying on some other aspect of that form. I've defended that case.
It definitely is the biggest story in the country right now, especially because he's the only surviving son of President Joe Biden, and his trial is going to last 2 weeks, and it's it's being overshadowed by the fact that Joe Biden signing some executive orders to deal with the border, which I was under the impression, by the way, just as a side note, Guy, that Joe Biden said, I need Congress to do anything at the border. But now all of a sudden, he's using some executive actions. Sure, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it interesting? President Trump didn't need Congress to do anything to close down the border, which he successfully did for 4 years. And Biden walks in, opens it back up, but suddenly he needs Congress to do the same job that Trump did very successfully. I'm sorry, I don't buy that.
Well, if you are looking for a reason to drink tonight, 42 years ago in 1982, the best Star Trek movie of them all, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, was released. That's one, guy where Spock dies, and then, Kirk yells, Khan! at the end. We had William Shatner on the show last year, and I asked him why that movie still resonates with fans.
It's simple. Star Wars came out with all that paraphernalia, and then we came out with Star Trek the movie, and that had a lot of pizzazz. The secret behind the series, it seemed to me, was the great story that Star Trek would tell, and it's clever science fiction. And that was the reason for the success, in my opinion.
What's the most famous scene in that movie, do you think? Is it the scene where Spock is dying, or is it the iconic moment when you look up into the sky and yell, Khan?
I didn't do that.
You did a lot better than I did.
No, that was pretty darn good. You won't be able to talk for a week.
There it is. 42 years ago today, Guy, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan released.
Was that the one with Ricardo Montalban as Khan?
Yeah, as Khan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
he's an evil bastard. Matt Bear, what's going on?
All right, Nigel, looking at westbound 70 stop and go traffic from Shadeland Avenue to 465 as people work their way around the closure of 465 on the southeast side. Also looking at southbound 465 into the closure. That is slow from 70 almost back to Penn Pike. Eastbound at 72 downtown stop and go traffic from Harding Street to the south split. Westbound lanes also slow from Meridian, Illinois onto Harding. And we do see a delay coming eastbound 70 to Hendricks County. And that slows down between State Road 39 and 267 for about a mile and a half. Traffic sponsored by Mr. Quick Home Services. Attention, Indy homeowners, is your cooling system ready for the heat? Don't sweat it. Mr. Quick Home Services has you covered with their special $89 cooling tune-up offer. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Coming up next, more controversy involving Caitlin Clark. It doesn't involve her. It involves her name and a big superstar sportscaster calling her the B word. Oh, boy. We'll break it all down for you next. 82 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center on 93 WIBC. Well, when you're talking about Window Nation, we're talking about one of the best window companies in America. They've installed over 200,000 windows last year, 40 times more than the average window company. I know there's a lot of window advertisers on the station, but Hammer and Nigel put their name on Window Nation. I've had Window Nation windows installed in my house. Plus, with this deal going on right now, are you kidding me? 50% off all windows styles, plus 0% interest for 5 years.
This is what you've been waiting for. The big semi-annual sale from Window Nation. 50% off all style of windows. You find the style you like, half off. Also, 0% interest for 5 years. Also, an additional bonus discount if you book your appointment this week. Time is a factor. 866-90-NATION. All you have to do is book an appointment. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com, but you have to tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Close your eyes and picture it. The warm sun on your face. The sound of waves lapping against the shore. What if I told you that feeling of summer relaxation could be yours all year round? At Howard Bailey Financial, we specialize in retirement planning that lets you embrace that summer state of mind every day. Imagine knowing that your future is secure. With our expert advisors, we'll craft a personalized retirement plan tailored to your dreams. Whether it's traveling the world or pursuing your passions, we'll ensure that your retirement is as carefree and fulfilling as a relaxing summer afternoon. Embrace a summer state of mind and text SUMMER to 888-494-5004 to download our complimentary retirement toolkit and experience your retirement planning with confidence.
This endorsement was not provided by a client of Howard Bailey. This individual was compensated for this endorsement. For more information, visit howardbailey.com/TSY.
911, what's your emergency?
Por favor, necesito ayuda. Está borracho y creo que me va a pegar otra vez.
I will get someone to speak with you. Please stay on the line.
Hola, tengo su ubicación. Ayuda está en camino.
Getting past a language barrier is critical when first responders help Hoosiers. That's why the State 911 Board provides special tools for non-English speaking citizens to communicate with emergency services.
Si estás en peligro, aunque no hables inglés, podrás recibir ayuda en una emergencia rápidamente.
All Indiana 911 centers began offering translation services in over 240 languages in 2019. Now, people can send text messages for help in their native language to 911 and receive a translated text back from the dispatcher. It's of great help to the deaf and speech impaired and to those in select dangerous situations.
Cuando llame o envíe un texto al 911, un servicio de traducción se asegurará que entiendan lo que está diciendo.
For more information, visit in911.net.
Gracias.
911. Before you text, voice is best.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Guys, maybe you're working outside. Maybe you're trying to get more from your workouts or thinking about a golf tee time. If you're lacking energy, motivation, or gaining weight, there could be another T to think about. That's a low T. Testosterone therapy can help you get back to feeling your best. We recommend Low T Center.
With over a decade of experience, they make it easy. Take a simple blood test and get results back in about 25 minutes. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Did you hear what Pat McAfee called Caitlin Clark on his show yesterday?
Yeah.
Did you hear about this? Now, this was all within the context of him defending her.
Absolutely.
Because she's getting beat up on the court.
She's been a recurrent guest on his show.
Yes.
I mean, they seem to have a good relationship.
She's been on his show. And so everybody's talking about this hard foul that the Chicago player, Kennedy Carter, whatever, you know, that hip check that Caitlin didn't see coming on Saturday, knocked her straight to the ground. It was called
By the
a
way,
foul.
have you seen her resume in the WNBA?
No.
Oh, she was drafted in the first round. I forget the team. Was dismissed in her first season for threatening to beat up her teammates. Went to a different team. Got thrown off that for contract detrimental. Went to Europe and played. Came back. Signed with the Sky, and 7 games into the season for the Sky, she pulls this with Caitlin Clark.
Even the coach of the Sky pulled her aside, basically threw her under the bus. And
so what's that crap?
So you can think whatever you want about Caitlin Clark, whether she's, if you're a player especially, you should be getting down on her knees and thanking her that you're flying, no longer flying commercial. You're getting a lot of attention. You're getting a lot more butts in the seats. And they're just kind of like, even her teammates didn't really seem to react with these hard fouls.
No reaction.
So Pat McAfee's giving her some love on the show. Pat McAfee's on ESPN. His broadcast emanates out of Central Indy. And here's what he say, again, in the context of defending Caitlin Clark.
But I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white for the Indiana team who is a superstar. But instead, we have to hear people say that we only like her because she's white. And she's the only popular because the rest of the rookie class is doing what they're doing. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. And we think the WNBA, more specifically, their refs need to stop trying to screw her over at every single turn. What you have is somebody special. And we're lucky she's here.
So he got in trouble and when I say he got in trouble, I don't think ESPN's going to do anything. I don't think they're taking him off the air. He gets paid $17 million a year. But on social media, there is quite the blowback.
Sure.
And again, calling her a white bee, probably not the description I'd use when talking about how much of a badass she is. But that's why Pat McAfee is Pat McAfee. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves that he speaks from the heart, you know, that he's a little irreverent, and we all love that about him. I mean, I think as far as the talking heads on sports television, he's the only one I could stand listen to be honest with you. I mean, he's more interesting.
It's a fun show, yeah.
I think he needs to improve his co-host a little bit because he's the only one that's really interesting on that show.
Yeah, I'm not sure who the other guys are on that show, but I do watch his show on my days off.
Yeah,
I don't normally get to watch it because I'm here.
I think he's very good.
So, but he apologized, although what do we always say on the show? Never apologize. But he's not apologizing to the mob. He's apologizing to Caitlyn. Quote, right. This is his quote on Twitter. I shouldn't have used the term white bee as a descriptor of Caitlyn, no matter the context, even if we're talking about race being a reason for some of the stuff happening. I have way too much respect for her and women to put that into the universe. My intention when saying it is complimentary, just like the entire segment, but a lot of folks are saying that it certainly wasn't at all 100% on me. For that, I apologize. I've sent an apology to Caitlyn as well. And today on his show, apparently the Fever's public relations got a message back and said that everything's good. Caitlyn's all good. So,
yeah, and you know what? I mean, I can't claim to know anything about Caitlyn Clark other than what I read and hear.
It's taking a lot of
but
heat.
I have a feeling she didn't much mind that at all.
Right. And so after all that, okay, after all that, what does McAfee do? I love this. He goes out and leaves us kind of a little Easter egg while he was calling a match for WWE Raw, and a wrestler comes out of nowhere, and he uses basically the same verbiage.
That's one big white son of a
I love it. That's one big white son of a... I mean, I think that was a callback to the controversy from yesterday. It had to have been, right?
You know what? It was putting the whole thing in context.
Meanwhile, you know who else wants credit for the success and the attention that the WNBA is getting right now? Caitlyn Clark's rival, Angel Reese. Did you hear what she had to say?
Oh, I saw the video. Absolutely.
Here, go ahead and play that.
And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me, too, and I want y'all to realize that.
I don't know about that, Angel Reese. I will watch the rematch coming up of the Chicago Sky and the Indy Fever here in a couple of weeks. Later on in June, they meet up at home here in Gaybridge again. But let me just spit some facts here at Angel Reese. Attendance at non-Caitlyn Clark WNBA games this past weekend: 7,000, 4,000, 9,000, 7,000, 3,000, 10,000, 7,000. All right. Here's the attendance at Caitlyn Clark's WNBA games this past weekend. 17,274 and 17,401. So I'm pretty sure it's Caitlyn Clark that's driving the success right now the WNBA is having. Certainly the product on the court needs to be better too. It's a little hard to watch.
It is, and the Fever are not good. I don't think they're well coached, and I don't think they're using Caitlyn appropriately, but that's a whole nother discussion. But, you know, when I heard Angel Reese's commentary and saw the video, you know what I saw? I saw a little girl jumping up and down saying, "Look at me, look at me, look at me." That's all. That's exactly what I heard.
They're pretty jealous. Coming up next, a guy named Victor Avila. This guy's a badass. He was a guy that worked for ICE for many years.
Oh, awesome!
Born on the border, worked on the border as ICE patrol. And he's got some insight onto these kind of BS executive orders that Joe Biden is signing, trying to throttle illegal immigration. We'll talk to him next. I don't want to miss this. This guy is a pretty amazing story. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show. I've been doing the Exercise Inc. program for years. I've built muscle. I've lowered my body weight. I've lowered my cholesterol. And the thing about it is you show up once a week for your private 20-minute workout. It's a 20-minute workout once a week. And now my wife is like, okay, where do I sign up? So my wife and I are both doing Exercise Inc. Now, she has got the cardio part down. She goes for a walk every day, but she wants to build muscle. She's going to her free consultation this week with Sid over there at the Exercise Inc. in Zionsville. They have locations all over town. Avon, Brownsburg, Greenwood, Zionsville, and now brand new one in Fishers. So you go once a week for your private 20-minute workout, and then you adopt the 9 simple habits you need to follow and change your health and lose weight for things you do outside of the gym as well. This is not your average, ordinary big box gym. It's private. There's only 3 or 4 customers in there at a time. Check out all the success stories at exerciseinc.com. That's exerciseinc.com. Change your life in 20 minutes a week with Exercise Inc. And tell them Nigel sent you.
Mike loves summer in Indy, but he hates to paint. So he called Rhino Shield.
Our home is basically a contemporary, and we just started noticing that the paint was just fading and just looked like garbage. We had received a postcard from Rhino Shield, and we decided to take a look at it.
Rhino Shield's formulated for our specific climate here in Indiana.
The process with Rhino Shield and their crew, they were just very conscientious. We had problems in the past with painters. They leave debris and everything. Well, we didn't have that with Rhino Shield.
Way better than paint, backed by a 25-year warranty. And right now, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price.
The thing about Rhino Shield, the heat gain has been reduced, and we save $70 a month. You don't hear that about any type of paint.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
When life spells heartburn, how do you spell relief? ROLAIDS.
What about when life spells fried chicken?
ROLAIDS.
Fourth cup of coffee?
Still ROLAIDS.
Extra cheesy pizza?
Rolaids always spells relief. Rolaids' powerful dual-active formula begins neutralizing acid on contact to fight your heartburn fast. So, when life spells heartburn, Rolaids spells relief. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What to expect with the rain. Cloudy at 80 degrees in downtown Indianapolis with some scattered rain still on your radar. 69 is your low tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:32. With good storm still later today, with lightning being one of the biggest threats, says Joe Neild with the National Weather Service.
You're close enough to hear the thunder. You're close enough to be struck by lightning, even if it's not raining where you are at that point in time. So you want to get yourself inside a sturdy building, away from windows until long after the storm's passed.
Hail, strong winds, and flooding are also in place, as Neild. Radar should clear up at some point Wednesday. President Biden signed an executive order today to try and lower the amount of illegal immigrants crossing the southern border. It's only going to allow 2,500 asylum applications a day.
Because it will extend once again the welcome mat. Incentivize people to come and be among the first 2,500 is what we're hearing. The first 2,500 per day to come in. To be ensured that you get your welcome package when you come into the country illegally. It's absolute madness.
House Speaker and Republican Mike Johnson, he advised Biden to go with the Remain in Mexico policy. No response from Hamas yet to an Israeli ceasefire proposal that has the backing of your president. Fox's Jared Halpern reports.
Hamas has not offered a formal response to a multi-stepped ceasefire and hostage deal presented last week by Israel.
For our part, we're going to make sure that Israel has what it needs to continue to eliminate the threat by Hamas, and that we're going to continue to work with the Prime Minister and the War Cabinet to try to get this proposal over the finish line.
White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says the deal on the table remains the best chance to get hostages out of Gaza. Some members of the Israeli government have been critical, including right-wing ministers who are threatening to abandon the wartime coalition if the deal is implemented. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett wants an MLS team in Indianapolis. He needs support from the city-county council to have a chance of adding another pro team to the capital city.
There is no other viable option here. The time is now, and this is bigger than one council district. I'm sorry, it is. This impacts the city as a whole.
Councilor Rob Gibson, after a vote last night to approve a tax district to help fund an MLS-specific stadium. Not all councilors share the same sentiment. Some are asking to continue supporting the Indy 11. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:34.
A healthy weight, more energy, and smooth, regular bowel movements. 3 things everyone strives for.
It's me, Chuck Norris. There's one really important thing we don't talk about enough: our health. Achy joints, digestive issues, weight gain, and fatigue. We're told these are normal signs of aging. So working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick.
Morning Kick is a revolutionary formula combining 10 different supplements in one. Probiotics that help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and several of the most powerful anti-aging supplements on earth. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, focused, and help manage stress.
Anybody can achieve great health regardless of their age.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com. Use code EASY or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off today.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee.
Text EASY to 511-511. Morning Kick. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
With traffic at 3:35, here's Matt Baer.
Westbound S70 on the east side heading into the north split has it bad right now. We see stop-and-go traffic, Shadeland Avenue into the north split. That delay continuing on southbound 65 S70 from the north split down to Fletcher Avenue. It finally opens up a little bit after that. And inbound 65 struggling from MLK into the north split. Again, that closure that we're talking about is on the southeast side. It is southbound 465 from I-70 down to I-65, about 9 miles worth of 465 closure, southbound side only until June 21st, give or take. The traffic sponsored by B Window. It's a great granddaddy of a sale at B Window, up to 50% off all windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. Trust your home to B. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Scattered showers and storms possible for tonight. Our low temperatures in the upper 60s. A cold front swings through on Wednesday, brings another rain chance. High temperature of 80 degrees. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show. My name is Nigel. Guy Relford filling in for Jason Hammer. Here is the headline. Joe Biden preparing an order that would shut down asylum if a daily average of 2,500 migrants arrive. The obvious question is, why is he doing this now? Will it even work? Here to help us gain a little bit perspective on what's going on the southern border and the crisis that is happening is Victor Avila. Victor is a retired ICE supervisory special agent. This is his first time on the show. Victor, thank you for coming on. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for having me, Nigel.
So, Victor, maybe before we get into the weeds of this, tell everybody a little bit about your background and your experience as an ICE agent and what you've been witnessing over the past few years.
Well, not only am I born and raised on the border, but I've worked my entire career on the southwest border. And as a matter of fact, when I retired in 2015, I retired because I was the agent that survived the ambush, this horrible ambush that happened in 2011 when my partner was killed by the cartel, and I survived being shot 3 times. And so border security for me is something personal as well. And I want to continue to fight to protect our country. And obviously that hasn't been happening under this administration. I just returned from Arizona this past Saturday, and it is just incredible the amount of chaos down there, despite the cameras that have been going on for a while and no one really talking about the border right now because it's not a top of mind, even though it's the #1 issue in the country.
Yes.
And so now the Biden administration knows that, and they know that they're losing votes. And so I think it's a little too late. Listen, I always welcome security and I always welcome enforcement of our laws, which is something that I've been fighting for them to do. This is something that I think is very politically motivated. Will they do it? Will they work? I hope so. I don't think there should be a threshold of any number of 2,500. It should be 0 because illegal immigration is still illegal. Why should a certain number of people be allowed in before laws get kicked in to be enforced? It makes absolutely no sense to me. I didn't have that type of discretion when I was an agent investigating people. If you broke the law and we were able to prove that you did that, you were held accountable.
Victor Avila, retired ICE agent here on the Hammer and Nigel show. I'm just confused because when Donald Trump was president, the border wasn't perfect. The wall didn't exactly get built all the way like he said it was, but border crossings were down. And the minute that Joe Biden takes office, he signs multiple executive orders, making it very, very easy for not only illegal immigration, but human trafficking, fentanyl flowing through the border. And then when asked, why can't you do anything? He just says, well, we need Congress. We need Congress. And now all of a sudden, he's going to sign an executive order that's going to throttle back the claims of asylum. I'm just kind of confused on what exactly is going on here, creeping up towards the election here in 2024.
You're confused. I'm confused because they've been lying to us. They've been telling us that they don't have the authority to do this when, in fact, we know that they do because we've done it before. And so they've tried to trick the American people in blaming Congress, especially the Republicans, saying we can't move on any of these enforcements because we need legislation behind it, which is completely untrue. We have the laws in place. And guess what? Now they're going to start enforcing them. So, listen, I can't wait to Border Patrol to go back and actually detain people. And probably the most excited people here that's waiting for this executive order to happen are going to be the border agents themselves.
Yes.
They're going to be actually able to go back and do their jobs.
Victor, in terms of the demographics of people coming through the border, I see obviously there are families that want a better opportunity, which is not a legal claim for asylum, by the way, economic migrants as they call them. But I'm also seeing military-aged men from China, from the Mideast. What do you think is happening there?
That's a great question because you know who's not coming? It's not Mexicans and not Central Americans anymore. We got people from all over the world. I don't even know. People say 150, 170 countries. It's the entire globe that is coming through that southern border. And yes, the majority of those are single adult males, military-age males coming from China, Africa, Asia, so many different countries that you're wondering, what in the world are you doing here and what is your agenda? Because we don't know. We don't know. They're not, like you mentioned, the economic migrant that wants to come and work and send their money back. Plus, the biggest difference that I've seen, especially compared to the 20 years that I worked there, is that there's no assimilation here coming attached to them. They don't want to be Americans. They're bringing their broken country, plus their ideology, mostly socialist, communist countries, and that is coming here to your neighborhood, and that's all they know, and they want that implemented here. Plus, they get the benefits of what the U.S. is offering them. It's a win-win situation for them, but not for the American people, because one of the things I fight a lot is for public safety, and we have Americans being killed, being raped, being crashed, and all these things, DUIs, all these things that happen by illegal aliens against Americans, and those are 100% preventable crimes that I believe should not have happened in the first place. This is the reality, and I get a lot of kickback. People on the left say, well, everybody commits crimes. I said, listen, we already have a crime surge in the U.S. to begin with.
Of course.
Why do we need more people from all over the world coming here to commit one more additional crime? For me is one too many.
Victor Avila is our guest. He's a retired ICE supervisory special agent. He wrote the book Agent Under Fire, A Murder and a Manifesto. Go back to your experience with the cartels and the ambush. It might be tough for you to talk about, but I just want to give people the impression of how brutal these cartels can be. What is the book about, and what happened with you specifically?
Well, I tell people about, first of all, they'll learn about me and my family, and that agents are serving abroad, not just in Mexico, but all around the world, trying to protect us and defend our homeland. That's what I was trying to do, and that's what I was assigned at the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City. Special Agent Jaime Zapata and I were assigned over there. And, yes, the cartels are evil, is the best word I could use to describe them. They're evil. They have no regard for human life, no regard. They're not afraid of us anymore, by the way. They're not afraid of U.S. law enforcement. And that was a shift when our attack happened, because Agent Zapata was the second agent to be killed in line of duty in Mexico. This is after the DEA agent Enrique Camarena was killed in 1985. We all know about that. But the Obama-Biden administration, when this happened, they buried that. And a lot of people don't know. And so one of my duties as a survivor of that, I'm here by the grace of God after being shot 3 times to be able, first of all, to tell you the story and in Jaime's memory to let you know the real fight and the real causes, because these cartels are 100% present in our country.
Yeah.
That fentanyl and the meth and the problem, they're here. And a lot of the violence that we see attached to the local gangs, they have a connection to the cartels and back into Mexico and Central America. And my job is to at least make the American people aware that once you're aware, at least you know that this is happening, and don't be out what I call la-la land and like this is not going to happen to you, because you are going to run into them at the grocery store and at the gas station. They're here, and this is what we need to defend our family, because if unfortunately you become a victim at the hands of one of these people, it's too late, right? I always say that.
Too late.
We're trying to avoid that.
It's scary because there's another figure that I keep on seeing. I mean, we know about the illegal immigrants, the high in the millions since Joe Biden took office, but the number of something called gotaways. Can you explain what gotaways are and how dangerous that they are?
Yes, and the different categories of gotaways.
Yes.
So the ones you're talking about are the ones that we know that there's about, right now they counted at least 2 million that they actually saw on a camera or a sensor, but they weren't able to go and actually apprehend them, and they got in. Plus, we have the unknown gotaways that we actually never saw, and now we're talking national security, because these are people that are not wanting to be detected. You could go up to a Border Patrol agent right now and give yourself up, what we call give-ups. They're not choosing to do that. Why? Because they're cartel members. Maybe they're terrorists. Maybe they're linked to a terrorist organization. They come from what we call special interest countries. They're SIA, special interest aliens, that are coming here with a very, very intentional purpose of causing us harm. This is where the hair in the back of our neck should be standing up and say, wait a minute. What's going on? Well, they're here. There's no doubt in my mind that these people are here. They've used this. They've been very patient. They've been in Mexico for many years. Let me tell you, I interviewed a lot of these individuals.
Yeah.
And they've been in Mexico, and they've used Mexico to gain access into our country, and that's why we have to hold Mexico accountable. Mexico just elected a female president, a communist. If you look at her, she's a communist, and this is where we have to really be paying attention to what's happening in Mexico. The cartels are running a parallel government over there. These are socialist communist people leading these countries. Mexico's best friend is Cuba, Venezuela, and they have Hezbollah present there. Iran is dealing with that. So you have these big picture. By the way, China, big presence in Mexico. So this is the big national security foreign policy aspect about the border that we have to be paying attention, because I think at this point we've been distracted so much about the illegal alien migrant and the family unit. By the way, close to 500,000 unaccompanied children have come in under this administration. 100,000 of them lost.
So sad.
These are children, and that's I'm a subject matter expert in human trafficking investigations, and this has to stop.
We'll get you on the phone next time. I'm going to drill down into the human trafficking aspect of the crisis at the border. Victor Avila, he wrote the book Agent Under Fire, A Murder in a Manifesto. He is a retired ICE agent. Finally, before we let you go, I'm assuming if somebody, I'm sitting here wondering, okay, well, what can we do now? Is it as simple as the voting booth in November?
That's part of the solution, but it's going to take a little bit more than that. We have to get involved. You have to get involved at community level. I'm a big local advocate. You have to get involved in your community. You got to know who's representing you. All politics lead to your local politics.
Yes.
Who represents your block? Start paying attention there. And once you do that, you'll be surprised how much you'll learn.
Victor Avila, we'd love to have you back, man. Thank you for your service as an ICE agent, and have a great week.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show. The last thing you want to be worried about this summer is your air conditioner going out. I'm here to tell you right now, I only use American Standard equipment. I only use American Standard dealers to maintain that equipment. Here's my man Hammer to tell you more about one of those great independent local American Standard dealers in Central Indy.
Our friends at B&W Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical in Speedway. Summer means more unpredictable weather. Is your AC ready to beat the heat? B&W's dedicated team will ensure your cooling system is in top shape. And when those chilly nights return, B&W's heating service will keep you cozy. Go to bplusw.com/radio to schedule that appointment today. That's bplusw.com/radio, or just call 317-243-3581. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. American Standard Heating and Air, built to a higher standard.
Broken bricks, falling fences, damaged doors, Gorilla Glue. Of course. It's incredibly strong and 100% waterproof and bonds, well, virtually everything. While you're at it, look for Gorilla Tape, a heavy-duty double-thick duct tape, and Gorilla Super Glue, great for all your quick fixes and repairs. There's also Gorilla Epoxy, Gorilla Wood Glue, Gorilla Construction Adhesive, of course. You get it. If you can break it, Gorilla can fix it. For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
You forget something?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to be able to pick up Braden tonight after practice.
Oh, did something come up at work?
Nah, not even going to make it in today.
Why? What's going on?
Well, I'm coming up on some construction in about a quarter mile. I've already started ignoring the signs. In a minute, I'll force my way through traffic while texting. I'll pull the wheel a little too far and drive right through the barrels where I'm going to hit a few workers. One of them is going to get killed, so then I'm going to be arrested and charged with vehicular manslaughter.
No one plans on having an accident, but you can plan to avoid one. Read the signs. Slow down. Stay alert.
This is Ray Hobbs, business manager of Labor's Local 741. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Up to 50% off on all of our windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. It's our great granddaddy of a sale.
Matt Bear, what's going on out on the roads?
Nigel, westbound 70 is bumper to bumper coming in on the east side. This is from 465 into the north. Split delay continues to be a grind down to Fletcher Avenue, all because of people rerouting around the southbound 465 closure on the southeast side. Southbound 65 jammed up White River to the north split. Eastbound 70 stop and go Belmont to the south split. And on the northeast side, eastbound 465 stop and go traffic Keystone Avenue to Allisonville Road, inbound 69 stop and go 106 down to 82nd. Traffic sponsored by B Window. It's a great granddaddy of a sale at B Window, up to 50% off all windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. Trust your home to B. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
82 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center, 93 WIBC. I'm Nigel. Guy Relford's filling in for Hammer. I didn't know that this was Pat Sajak's last week on Wheel of Fortune. He's 77 years old. His last episode is this Friday.
Isn't that crazy? He goes back to 1983 when he started on that show, which I got to tell you, that's the year I started practicing law. So I'm right there with him.
Wow. Well, he's 77 years old. I don't think you're quite there yet.
No. He started a little later than I did.
I didn't know. I mean, it's pretty amazing. The Wheel of Fortune was the longest running syndicated game show in the United States.
Isn't that something?
And Pat Sajak even surpassed Bob Barker as the longest running host.
Yeah, because if you'd asked me that question, I would have said Price is Right.
Yes.
It's been the longest running.
Yeah. So after Pat leaves, Vanna White, who's 67 years old,
isn't that something?
Continue to light the letters, and then Ryan Seacrest is going to take over as host this fall. There has been some excellent moments that went viral from Wheel of Fortune. Most recently, probably this incident on Wheel of Fortune, probably the answer of the year solving this puzzle.
Tavares, right in the butt.
What?
No.
No.
Blake.
This is the best.
Yeah, that's it, I think. Yeah. Much better answer.
Had you heard that one? Right in the butt?
I had never heard that at all.
Pat Sajak looks at him and goes, no.
No.
This is the best was the answer to that.
Well,
And
do you
then, of
remember the IU student, though, that lost $1 million when he couldn't solve the puzzle when all the letters were revealed? Do you remember this?
He was wearing an IU sweatshirt,
Well,
right?
it was
Or
like
Indiana.
College Week or
Yes.
something on Wheel of Fortune. And
He
this
was
was
from
all
Carmel
over
or
the national
something like
media.
that.
What's that?
He was from Carmel or something like
Yeah,
that, wasn't he?
guy went to Carmel. His name was Julian Batts.
Do we have that, Allison? Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Nice solve.
Oh, well, that'd be a good idea, yeah.
Mythological hero Achilles.
I can't excel that. Okay.
Oh, no.
I'll solve.
Yeah.
Mythological hero Achilles.
Yeah, that's it.
Achilles.
And the girl that won, that therefore won, had
Man.
$600 in the bank so that she won. This kid had $1 million and a trip to London, and he couldn't pronounce Achilles.
No.
And so he watched it disappear. It was a point of national humiliation for Indiana University, I gotta tell you.
Boy. So with about 15 seconds left, I mean, Pat Sajak up on the Mount Rushmore of game show hosts.
Oh, I would, yeah. Bob
Barker's
Pat
up
Sajak,
there.
absolutely.
Alex Trebek probably
Alex
up
Trebek,
there.
definitely.
Richard Dawson. You could go on and on and on. More of the Hammer and Nigel show coming up after 4 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
Summer weather is finally here, and that means it's time for flip-flops, sandals, and your summer wardrobe. But for some people, it's the season of painful feet. Hi, this is Phoebe with the Good Feet store, and to keep you out of pain and having fun this summer, you need some great support in all those shoes you're wearing. Our patented arch support system has helped countless people find relief from foot, knee, hip, and back pain. Like Dale. Listen to his real Good Feet story.
This planet is so incredibly beautiful that I can't get enough of it. I did 950 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, and Good Feet was with me all the way. Your passion's important, but if your body aches and if your heel feels like you've got a nail stuck in it and won't come out, trust me, it's going to wear you down. The Good Feet store knew what they were talking about and took the time to really dial in what I needed. I hiked 84 miles in the Himalaya and to do it pain-free. You think I'm not grateful for Good Feet?
So stop in today for your free personalized fitting and test walk and see what the Good Feet store can do for you this summer.
A slow network is no network for business. That's why more choose Comcast Business. And now we're introducing Ultimate Speed for Business, our fastest plans yet. We're up to 12 times faster than Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And existing customers could even get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability and advanced cybersecurity. It's ultimate speed from Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Don't miss out on our fastest speed plans yet. Get started with internet and security for $49 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract when you add one unlimited mobile line. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Call 1-800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com to switch today. In 62324, restrictions apply. New customers only with 300 megabits per second internet and security edge. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, tax, and fees extra. Compares Comcast Business 1.25 gig to 100 megabit per second 5G internet at Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Up to 3 times downloads for existing essential and standard customers.
1 point, 1 swing, 1 tackle, 1 step. One trusted hospital system for orthopedic care. Franciscan Health's orthopedic, sports medicine, and rehabilitation teams offer state-of-the-art treatments, including total joint replacement, physical therapy, and the latest techniques and interventions for a variety of conditions, including arthritis and orthopedic sports-related injuries, keeping you in step, one step at a time. Find a full range of orthopedic care in one place. Go to franciscanhealth.org/orthocare.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. You know, I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336, 800-444-9336, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-9336.
Coming up in 2 minutes, why you're probably not done with the rain just yet. Ryan Hedrick reports that a police officer attacked by a man with a sock. And there's still a ways to go, but Indianapolis is one step closer to that new soccer stadium you're hearing about. That's all coming up after Fox News Radio from the Technology Recycler Studios. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
New restrictions at the southern border. Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden signing an order that limits asylum seekers when illegal crossings surge.
Doing nothing is not an option, President Biden says, saying Republicans in Congress have left him no choice but to take executive action.
We have to act. We must act consistent with both our law and our values.
The order shuts off asylum requests in most cases if more than 2,500 migrants cross between ports of entry per day, a figure that is already lower than daily averages.
This action will help us gain control of our border, restore order into the process.
Congressional Republican leaders say the order is too little, too late, and intended only to solve a political liability. Immigrant rights groups are also critical. The ACLU has signaled a lawsuit to block the action.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. First Lady Jill Biden in court for a second day as the president's son Hunter stands trial on a federal gun charge in Delaware. Prosecutors say he lied about drug use when he purchased a gun in 2018. The defense using opening statements to challenge the way the question was worded on a federal form, telling the jury prosecutors have to prove Hunter Biden knowingly violated the law. The former interpreter for LA Dodger star Shohei Ohtani pleads guilty to bank and tax fraud for stealing nearly $17 million from the slugger to pay sports gambling debts.
We came to the conclusion, based on the evidence, that Mr. Mitsuhara had committed a massive fraud, and that fraud was committed against the one victim in this case, who is Shohei Ohtani.
U.S. Attorney Martina Estrada after the guilty plea in California, where the ex-interpreter could face decades in prison when he is sentenced in October. Stocks finish higher after a mixed day. The Dow up 140 points at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
There's still a chance for more rain. 75, cloudy downtown. You're getting some of that rain if you're up in Noblesville near Zionsville in Lebanon. Low of 69 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. Storms currently moving through central Indiana.
Primarily this afternoon into this evening, and then those chances will ramp up again late tonight and into the daytime hours on Wednesday as a cold front moves through the area.
Joe Neal with the National Weather Service explaining why you may not be done with that rain yet. Flooding is a possibility. Hail and strong winds also could be a factor in the storms. A man with a history of not getting along with police went after a cop with a sock. Ryan Hedrick explains.
Jonathan Reinhardt is a homeless man in Indianapolis. 4 years ago, he was convicted of throwing bodily waste on a cop. This week, he flagged down an Indy Metro cop to tell him about a person driving a car who was harassing him. As the cop took the report, Reinhardt pulled a sock full of glass out of his pocket and hit the cop in the neck with it. Reinhardt was arrested, and the cop was treated at the scene and released. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
No IMPD officers have anything to do with Donald Trump and his case out of New York, says the department. Officer Nicole Pilkington's picture had been shared on social media, an account claiming that she's Trump's parole officer. IMPD says that's not true. If you see that picture on social media, do not share it. The city's made its choice. Kurt Darling reports on efforts to build a soccer stadium in downtown Indianapolis.
It was between 11 Park and the mayor's MLS stadium proposal. City-county councilors chose the latter. Councilor Dan Boots with the explanation why.
The MLS will not grant a franchise to an MLS team that will play on the Diamond site.
That being where 11 Park was supposed to be built. Still, some skeptical councilors asked Boots to provide proof of that assertion. Either way, a tax district for the MLS proposal was approved and will soon be considered by state lawmakers. Kurt Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And some expensive blueprints. Microsoft wants to spend $1 billion on a new data center to be built in LaPorte. The company expects it to bring 200 jobs to Indiana's economy by 2032. They'll be looking to hire engineers, IT technicians, and people who have experience working with AI. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
Get out fast, get cash, sell your home in a fast at IndyHomebuyer.com. No inspection, no fuss, we only need to see it once at IndyHomebuyer.com. Problem properties, tenants don't pay. Just hand us the keys and your problems go away. Get out fast, get cash, sell your home in a flash at IndyHomebuyer.com. Get out fast, get cash, sell your home in a flash at IndyHomebuyer.com.
No matter your reason for selling, TheIndyHomebuyer.com will pay cash for your house in any condition. If you're dealing with deadbeat tenants, big repairs, or inheritance, TheIndyHomebuyer.com is the solution. No hassle, no inspections. TheIndyHomebuyer.com.
Get out fast, get cash, sell your home in a flash at IndyHomebuyer.com. Get out fast, get cash, sell your home in a flash at IndyHomebuyer.com.
With traffic on the 5s at 4:05. How's it going, Matt Bear?
Harrison, I'm looking at westbound 70. It's going badly here as we check out the east side. Pockets of stop traffic. Everything else stop and go. Running from 465 to the north split as people try to get around that closure on southbound 465 on the southeast side. Inbound 65 stop from MLK to the north split. Eastbound 70 stop and go Holt Road to Meridian, Illinois. On the northeast side, westbound 465 stop and go traffic 69 past Allisonville Road. Eastbound 465 full house ready from Keystone Avenue to I-69. Inbound 69 jammed at 96th Street slow to 465. Traffic sponsored by the Indianapolis Men's Clinic. Guys, solve your ED today with an intimacy guarantee only at the Indianapolis Men's Clinic. If you don't perform, you don't pay. Call the Indianapolis Men's Clinic at 999-9000. That's 999-9000. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Scattered showers and storms possible for tonight. Our low temperatures in the upper 60s. A cold front swings through on Wednesday, brings another rain chance. High temperature of 80 degrees. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse from 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is out. The gun guy, Relford, filling in for Hammer. A bunch of firsts for this country happened over the span of a week or so. Well, today, the beginning of the first prosecution of a sitting U.S. president's offspring, Hunter Biden, on those gun charges. And that's a pretty big story. Of course, the other first was the conviction of Donald Trump on a felony in Manhattan. Now, my question for you, Guy, is putting your lawyer hat on. I know you deal specifically with the Second Amendment and gun safety, but do you see Donald Trump going to jail for what amounts to a misclassification of documents in the non-disclosure case with Stormy Daniels?
Yeah, you've got two competing issues. And one is, this is a low-level, nonviolent felony conviction of a guy that has no prior criminal history. Ordinarily, you'd say, not a chance in hell. There's no way the judge includes jail as part of this. This would be, a year and a half probation. You could quickly turn it into even non-reporting probation, meaning you just can't screw up, get arrested again, and then the whole thing goes away. However, we all know this is politically motivated. And this particular judge, Judge Marchand, would I be shocked if he said something like, well, you're going to have to do 30 days. You can serve it on weekends. You're going to have to serve house arrest for 6 months. Or I would not be surprised, given how politically motivated this whole thing is, if you don't see some version of incarceration for Donald Trump as a result of this.
A judge who's donated to the campaign of Donald Trump's political opponent, a judge that's donated money to anti-Republican causes.
Yeah, and one of his daughters, like a staffer for
Goldman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Donald Trump is saying that he's prepared to go to jail. He told Fox and Friends over the weekend that he's not going to beg anybody to keep him out.
The judge could decide to say, hey, house arrest or even jail. It could face what that could.
I'm okay with it. I saw one of my lawyers the other day on television saying, oh, no, you don't want to do that to the president. I said, you don't beg for anything.
That's total Donald Trump, right? I'm not begging anybody for anybody. Fine, I'll go do it.
Well, what's interesting is that in issuing a sentence, any judge in any case, in criminal case, they're going to consider what they call mitigating and aggravating circumstances, right? A mitigating circumstance is if the defendant has accepted full responsibility for their actions, and that's a big one. And judges can take a lot off a sentence.
Well, I don't think you're going to see any of that.
And you're not going to see that, though. And so what you may see, and this would not surprise me a bit, is if this judge says, well, we have a defendant who refuses to take responsibility for his actions, continues to deny any wrongdoing, and for that reason I'm compelled to, issue a sentence of some number of days in jail, even though for this type of crime, a person with no criminal history, ordinarily you would absolutely not see any jail time at all.
You mentioned this type of crime. They really had to twist themselves into a pretzel.
Oh, absolutely.
This was a misdemeanor, but because the prosecution said it benefited the campaign in some way, shape, or form, his 2016 campaign, and he misclassified what this non-disclosure payment was, he has the potential to go to jail. Okay, so sentencing is in July, Guy.
Yeah.
Can they appeal? Do they appeal before or after sentencing? What happens? I mean, obviously they're going to appeal whatever judgment comes down the pike.
And listen, I'm not a New York attorney, but typically you cannot appeal a case until there's a final order of conviction, judgment of conviction, and that requires sentencing. So for the most part, the typical rule is, and there might be something unusual, there might be an expedited appeal available out there that would be news to me, but typically you can't appeal until there's been a judgment of conviction, which is not going to happen until July.
Be interesting to see that. Here is Megyn Kelly. I don't know if Megyn Kelly, is she... I think she's on satellite, but I think she's on YouTube. I don't know exactly. She's very successful now since her stints at Fox and cable TV. Was Megyn Kelly on NBC? Was she on the morning show on NBC or ABC? Either way, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
But she's questionably having more success right now as a radio host. She was on live on the news channel that you were on earlier, talking about Hunter Biden, Newsmax.
Oh, on Newsmax, yeah.
With Dan Abrams. You know that name, Dan Abrams?
Yeah, sure.
He's a host there, and they were arguing about whether or not Donald Trump committed a misdemeanor or a felony, and whether or not this had any outcome on the 2016 election. It was a pretty good back and forth.
I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. I think you pay your lawyer money because he outlaid money for you. You could easily classify that as a legal expense.
No matter what it's for, right? Even if it's illegal conduct, you can just put it's a legal expense, right?
This wasn't illegal. There's nothing illegal about paying hush money for an NDA. It's done
There's not.
all
but
the
when
time.
You're doing it to protect your campaign, it is. That's the difference.
No. What law are you citing, Dan?
Campaign finance laws. You're not allowed to give the...
You don't know what you're talking about.
What are you talking...
You're wrong.
Explain to me.
Let me explain to you.
Tell me what I'm getting wrong.
I get it, because you're saying that there are limits to the campaign contribution somebody could make, and this has exceeded them, and then they hit it. I understand. That's his theory. However, this has been wrong from the start.
Yeah.
It does not amount to a campaign contribution if it is the kind of payment that could ever be made outside of the
That's
campaign
not the
context.
standard. The standard is
Yes, it is.
substantiality. It's not. It's substantiality.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You're wrong.
Okay.
No, it's
well,
not.
I guess we're going to have to agree.
There's been Supreme Court precedent on this.
What do you think about that back and forth there?
Well, it's
I'm tend to inclined to agree with Megyn Kelly.
Well, yeah, but they're both off target a little bit in my mind because the New York statute, what it says is it's a crime to falsify a business record, which is only a misdemeanor. It only becomes a felony if the falsification of the business record is in furtherance of some other crime. And this is the big thing, I think is the biggest appealable issue that Trump has on appeal, which is we never heard any specificity whatsoever during this trial as to what that additional crime was. And so what they're kind of hitting around the edges of in that discussion is if you falsified a business record, because supposedly, they put the expense in column A when it should have been in column B in terms of what kind of expense it was. Well, that's a very minor thing unless you're doing that to further the commission of some other crime. Well, what was that other crime? And this is what Judge Marchand said the jurors didn't even have to agree on. If 4 of them agreed it was this crime and 4 of them agreed it was some other crime, there was never any consensus on that. It didn't have to be unanimous. That, to me, is the biggest appellate issue that the Trump team has.
And meanwhile, the gloves are officially off. We told you this was coming. We told you the whole point of this trial was so that President Joe Biden could call Donald Trump, his political opponent, GOP nominee for president, a convicted felon. He's done just that. Biden railed on former Trump, or on the former president, calling him a, quote, convicted felon yesterday, telling his donors that his predecessor snapped after losing the 2020 presidential election and would be worse if he won in November. The whole point of this thing, again, to reiterate, this is all they have is to call the president a convicted felon.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they wanted, and they got their wish.
Absolutely. We may want to come back to this, but it happened in the House Judiciary Committee today, too, when Merrick Garland was testifying.
Oh.
And we may want to come back to that, too. I know we're up against a break, but
no, we're good.
The felon discussion also came up.
But it's not changing a lot of people's minds. I mean, look what happened in the 24 hours after he was convicted. I mean, record donations, like 38 million, like 35 to 38 million dollars, and 30% of those were first-time donors. That's an amazing number. Now,
and it's blown way past that now. I mean,
it's up to the high dollar donation. Yeah. Eric Trump. We played the clip yesterday. Eric Trump told Fox Business that the campaign's raised $200 million since he was convicted in New York City. So for comparison, in the last 6 months of 23, Trump's main fundraising arm raised $58 million. They've already got. Now look, I'm telling you, man, and we hit a break here, but like this list of wealthy donors who are considering or have already pledged support for Trump, I'm just going to read some names. You might not know who they are, but these are high-dollar cats. These are people that previously voted for Hillary, Biden, and Obama, like Doug Leone, Sequoia Capital. Quote, I become increasingly concerned about the general direction of our country, the state of our broken immigration system, the ballooning deficit, foreign policy missteps, blah, 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 blah. Forbes net worth $7.9 billion. Sean McGuire, Sequoia Capital, announced, again from the same company, announced on X that he's donating $300,000 to Trump after donating to Hillary Clinton in 2016. David Sachs, Kraft Ventures, hosting a fundraiser for Trump in the Bay Area with tickets costing $300,000. Bill Ackman, Pershing Square, likely to back Donald Trump after supporting Democrats in the past, according to the Financial Times. His net worth is $4.3 billion. So I'm just saying, man, like this conviction, this felony conviction, and the forthcoming sentencing could spell ultimate doom for the Democrats.
Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for.
I'm asking for some traffic updates with Matt Baer.
All right, Nigel, westbound is 70, man. Oh, man. Non-stop to stop-and-go traffic from 465 into I-70. It's about as bad as it gets. And as you move southbound 65, a 70 crash reported after Washington Street in the left lane. That's what I'm told. Traffic again is stopped back into the north split. Eastbound 70 stop and go into the south split from Holt Road. Southbound 65 is moving, but we do have stop-and-go traffic running from MLK down to Meridian Penn. Crash reported on the south side on eastbound 465 before I-65. We do see stop traffic back to US 31. And on the northeast side, westbound 465 stop and go from Westfield Boulevard over to Michigan Road. Traffic sponsored by Summit Racing Equipment. Shop summitracing.com to find the perfect gift for Dad. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends 6/23/24. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
82, clouds, a little bit of rain here and there at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. 93 WIBC. Is This Anything? Next. Hammer and Nigel here with American Standard. I only use American Standard dealers. I only use American Standard equipment. Had an American Standard air conditioner installed outside my house a couple of years ago. Still humming along. Here's Hammer to tell you about one of those awesome independent American Standard dealers in Central Indy.
How about Stevenson Heating and Cooling in Mooresville? Owner Richard Stevenson has 30 years experience, loves to be in the field working with the customers, a married veteran with 3 daughters. Richard and his amazing staff will treat your house like their own. Fair, honest service, and this has led to referral after referral, and that's what's grown Stevenson Heating and Cooling into what they are today. In Morgan and the surrounding counties, your American Standard dealer is Stevenson Heating and Cooling, 317-557-8532. That's 317-557-8532. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. American Standard Heating and Air, built to a higher standard.
Sinus pressure, congestion, snoring, being unable to sleep, being unable to breathe. Yep, it's another sinus infection. You've Googled, watched videos, tried over-the-counter sprays, medications, and home remedies, but nothing ever works. There must be some kind of treatment that can help, right? Indianapolis Sinus Center understands how draining it can be when you try treatment after treatment without any relief. That's why they've been serving and treating the community for over 50 years. Indianapolis Sinus Center has performed thousands of procedures and helped thousands of patients find lasting relief they didn't know was possible. Patients like you. If you've had enough of sinus pain, pressure, and congestion, schedule a visit with Indianapolis Sinus Center today. Call 317-528-9650 and take the first step toward breathing easy. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650, or visit IndianapolisSinusCenter.com.
We all have people in our lives we interact with. Maybe it's your favorite barista, a neighbor who waves to you every morning, a coworker you grab lunch with, or maybe it's me, the hairstylist you've gone to for years. What if you learned I had a substance use disorder? Would it change how you see me? It's okay to see the addiction, but when you choose to see the person, not just their disease, it can help change someone's life. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
When life happens, Michelis happens to help you through it. That includes water, storms, fire, and the whole insurance mess. Working hand in hand with the claims adjuster, Michelis is your advocate, your voice, your local trusted advisor for cleaning up, building back, and moving forward when disaster strikes. Now that is an insurance policy. Make it Michelis. Call 844-FIX-INDY.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Guys, maybe you're working outside. Maybe you're trying to get more from your workouts or thinking about a golf tee time. If you're lacking energy, motivation, or gaining weight, there could be another tee to think about. That's a low tee. testosterone therapy can help you get back to feeling your best. We recommend Low T Center.
With over a decade of experience, they make it easy. Take a simple blood test and get results back in about 25 minutes. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll.
All right, Gun Guy Relford filling in for Hammer. I'm Nigel. Hammer usually gives me a bunch of stories. He tells me, and I'll, let you know if there's anything or not. Why don't we flip-flop here?
You bet.
I'll give you the stories. You tell me if there's anything.
Absolutely.
Did you see? I got an update here for you. This Michigan dude that gained some notoriety, shall we say, last week for attending a virtual court hearing.
Oh, this was all over my internet.
From his vehicle over a suspended license is now speaking out. So he had to zoom in to court, a virtual hearing, but it was all over a suspended license, but he was driving at the time.
He's driving. Have you seen the video?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to play. So he claims there's a big misunderstanding and that he was allowed to drive. Here's part of the original interaction this guy's named Corey Harris had with the judge. You'll hear the original audio and then kind of followed by him explaining the side story.
Mr. Harris, are you driving? Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. This is a driving while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving, and he didn't have a license. They were supposed to have lifted it 2 years ago, but they didn't. It's very embarrassing. And with the type of ties that I have with the church and the community, it's very embarrassing.
What do we think about this? Is his excuse anything? I mean, you're an attorney. You work in criminal defense. I know, again, your specialty is 2A, but if you're this guy's lawyer.
Yeah, I've never handled a suspended driving case, but, look, if you're going to court on a charge of driving while suspended, you don't attend the Zoom hearing from your car
while driving.
While you're driving.
Hey, it's okay. I'm about to pull in my doctor's office.
And the facial expressions on this video, if you haven't seen it, you really need to go find it. Because the two facial expressions you got to watch are the judge, which is, wait a minute, are you driving right now? And then the guy's like, well, yeah, I'm driving. I'm on the way to my doctor's office. At which point he says, you're here on a suspended license. And then watching the defendant and his facial expressions like, oh, that's probably not good. But watching him go back and forth, it was just absolutely, it's great video if you haven't seen it.
But his excuse, though, the second part of that clip, the update is that he was under the apparently misunderstanding he was allowed to drive, and this should have been taken care of a couple of years ago, which doesn't really make any sense. Well, especially since the Zoom call specifically is over the suspended license.
If you're not sure,
yeah, right.
Don't attend the video hearing from your car. No, not a good move.
This is pretty cool. Have you ever heard of magnet fishing?
Yes, sure. Absolutely.
I'm assuming that's where people kind of like go out into a river or a lake or a creek.
Yeah.
And with a giant magnet try to fish for objects, valuable, rings,
absolutely,
stuff like that.
Yeah, Jimmy Hoffa's watch. You never know what you're going to find.
Exactly. My son and I got on a kick about a year or two ago. There was countless YouTube videos of these river divers that go in and see how many iPhones they could find from people that have floated the river and
by the way, they find a lot of guns.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, they do.
Wow.
Probably
guns that have been used in crimes?
Yes, and so the bad guy throws it into a body of water as he's leaving the crime scene.
So this couple in Queens, they were magnet fishing in the park last Friday and reeled in a safe. Check this out. This safe was filled with $100,000 in cash. Now, they called the cops, but no one reported the safe missing. They got to keep the money. Here's James and Barbie talking about the big catch.
When I first saw it, the initial thought is we have found plenty of safes before. This is just what a magnet fisher does. You find safes. And I thought it was a bunch of the little baggies that you would put cash in. And then I saw the numbers, 2 stacks of freaking hundreds.
Yeah, and I
did
not believe it. I thought it was a joke. He's like, no, for real. And he shows me. And once I seen the actual dollars and
and the little ribbon, the
symbols
security
where it says
ribbons.
like 100 and the security ribbons. I was like, I lost it.
What do you think? Is this anything? Is this drug money, do you think? Somebody trying to get rid of some sort of shipment or something?
You know, you don't
there's
know.
any number of possibilities, but $100,000 in a metal safe at the bottom of a river in Queens.
I mean, your
it's
first
pretty
reaction
suspicious.
is, it's criminal in some way. You know, there's somebody's trying, but who knows? It could be somebody going through a divorce and say, you know what, she's not going to get this money. I mean, you don't know. So we don't know. But the reason this is something, and I love this story, is that it's got three cool aspects to it. One is that they found it to begin with, which is way cool.
Yes.
Secondly, that they took the high road, and you know what? It's an interesting question to ask. Any of us to ask ourselves, would we have called the cops? Would we have, to
And they
report
did,
this? And they did. So they took the high road. They were as honest as they could be, and they still got rewarded because nobody had claimed this, so they got to keep the money. So I think this is something, and God bless them, and I hope it turns out great. What I hope we don't see is a story like in 3 months that said, well, they've split up and now they're suing each other over how they're going to split up the $100,000.
Oh, man. We're up against it here. Let's get Donnie Burgess in here from the WIBC newsroom. He's got a Delphi update and concerning the judge, whether the judge is going to stay on this trial, and plenty more to come. It's the Hammer and Nigel show. So we had my garage repainted and some new cabinets installed, but it didn't match the floor. We had like new walls, new cabinets, but the garage floor was awful. It was cracked. It was never maintained. An old, dirty, cracked, uneven garage floor. That's when I decided to call Galaxy Concrete Coatings, and they did such a phenomenal job. My new Galaxy Concrete garage floor is out of this world. They did it in as little as a day. It's 4 times stronger than epoxy. What they use is polyurea. It's the new premium standard for coatings, and my new garage floor has a lifetime warranty. Please go check out their work at galaxyconcretecoatings.com or give them a call, 751-9070.
A slow network is no network for business. That's why more choose Comcast Business. And now we're introducing Ultimate Speed for Business, our fastest plans yet. We're up to 12 times faster than Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And existing customers could even get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability and advanced cybersecurity. It's Ultimate Speed from Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Don't miss out on our fastest speed plans yet. Get started with internet and security for $49 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract when you add 1 unlimited mobile line. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Call 1-800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com to switch today. In 62324, restrictions apply. New customers only with 300 megabits per second internet and security edge. EcoBell and autopay required. Equipment, tax, and fees extra. Compares Comcast Business 1.25 gig to 100 megabit per second 5G internet at Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Up to 3 times downloads for existing essential and standard customers.
Tired of using your Indy Summer to paint year after year? Then do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. They just didn't leave a mess. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
Backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. And right now, you can have that protection for 10% off the regular price.
Rhino Shield, I think it increases the value and the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Accused of attacking a cop with a sock. 77 degrees, a mix of clouds and sunshine on Monument Circle. Rain currently in Whitestown and north of Noblesville, says your radar. Temperatures drop just below 70 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:32. An IMPD officer was hurt while taking a report. Here's Ryan Hedrick.
It was early Monday morning, and the officer was trying to help a man named Jonathan Reinhart. Reinhart lives on the streets, and he told IMPD that someone was driving a car around the area where he was staying and harassing him. For whatever reason, Reinhart pulled the sock out of his pocket and swung it, hitting the cop in the neck. Reinhart was arrested. The cop was okay. This is the second time in 4 years that Reinhart has been in trouble for this sort of thing. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
President Joe Biden announced an executive order today that will close asylums at the southern border at 2,500 encounters in one day.
The Department of Homeland Security has proposed new rules to allow federal law enforcement to more quickly remove asylum seekers that have criminal convictions and remove them from the United States.
Indiana Senator Todd Young called the order an admission from Biden that his previous policies had been failing. Senate Democrats claimed they're going to protect the reproductive rights of women with bills they plan on bringing to the Senate floor.
We will put reproductive freedoms and women's rights front and center before this chamber in hopes that we can do what we did 105 years ago, create a more perfect union.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer speaking on the floor this afternoon. The numbers don't lie, says Libertarian candidate for governor Donald Rainwater.
Obviously, voters feel that what we have to say is not only valid, but preferred.
But Rainwater tells WIBC's Kendall Casey he's being unfairly prevented from one of the two live gubernatorial debates on television this fall. Rainwater says he'll be in the Wish TV debate, but he hasn't had any communication from Fox. He says his supporters deserve better. A positive day in the market. The Dow up by 140 to 38,711. The Nasdaq finished up by 28 to 16,587. And the S&P 500 had a 7-point increase to 5,291. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:34.
The search for the temporary fix. It's led you back there again. In the pharmacy aisle, looking for the new and improved pill or spray that will clear up your stuffy nose. And you'll give it a try because at least it helps you breathe, right? Yeah, it does. And it may work, but it's hurting you more than it's helping. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we've pioneered simple solutions to nasal breathing problems without the pain and inconvenience of surgery. In-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty require 0 surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. There are few, if any, practices that have been performing the balloon sinuplasty procedure longer than Advent. That's why we're a global destination for those living with nasal breathing problems. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for balloon sinuplasty, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
With traffic at 4:35, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, my information says westbound at 70 on the east side will take you 29 minutes to get from 465 into the north split. So many people rerouting around that closure. Southbound 465 on the southeast side. So you get into the north split. Traffic still bad down to Fletcher Avenue, barely moving in parts. Southbound 65 stop and go after MLK to the north split. And eastbound 70 into the south split, backed up from Holt Road. Crash on the south side. It's eastbound 465 before I-65. 2 right lanes taken out and traffic jammed up back to the White River. Delay time now 47 minutes because of that south side crash. Traffic sponsored by B Window is a great granddaddy of a sale at B Window. Up to 50% off all windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. Trust your home to B. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Scattered showers and storms possible for tonight. Our low temperatures in the upper 60s. A cold front swings through on Wednesday, brings another rain chance. High temperature of 80 degrees. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on The Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hello, I'm Nigel. The gun guy, Relford. Licensed firearms instructor, 2A attorney, host of the Gun Guy Show Saturdays here on 93 WIBC, filling in for Hammer. We also have a special guest in studio, Delphi update with Donnie Burgess from the WIBC newsroom. He's been covering all aspects of what's transpired leading up to the trial, the eventual trial of Richard Allen, who's accused of murdering Abby Williams and Libby German. That trial set to begin in October. The latest. Let's start with the judge. Judge Gull. The defense attorneys want her removed. I guess it was at her discretion whether or not she removed herself.
Yes.
What happened?
Then they made attempt number 2 to remove Special Judge Fran Gull, and attempt number 2 failed. She said, "Gentlemen, I will be sticking around. I will not recuse myself from this case." And she listed a whole bunch of reasons. It was like 6 pages worth in a response to their like 40-page document that they filed. But essentially, she says, in her estimation, she's not biased. Her court has acted in according to how it should. She refutes the claims that she prefers one over the other. She says she has ruled in favor of defense and prosecution. And she cites an example of, hey, you wanted to have a hearing of sanctions against the prosecution? We're going to have that hearing. And she makes several points like this.
So the defense said she was biased against the defense, and that's why they wanted her removed.
They really ramped that up after the disqualification incident at this point last year, where she removed them after the evidence leak, saying, hey, you guys are grossly negligent and incompetent, so you guys are off the case. And they were eventually brought back on by the Indiana Supreme Court. But yeah, that's where we stand. She says, I'm sticking around, and we are going to get back to business with all the motions that are still to come.
I kind of get why they would feel the need to bring this motion to disqualify, because when a judge looks at you as a trial attorney, if a judge looks at you and says you're grossly negligent and incompetent, that means one of two things: either the judge is biased, or you're grossly negligent and incompetent.
Oh, and not only has she said it to their face, and in official motions as well. She has stuck by that, and they have not forgotten those words.
Yeah, and none of this bodes well for your client. That's the thing that bothers me. It appears to be very personal, as between these lawyers and this judge. And you know what? There's a time to put that aside. Now, look, if they could have potentially gotten her disqualified, who knows? Maybe get a judge that somehow they're going to get better rulings out of, so maybe their motivation's in the right place. But my first reaction is, let's stop the petty bickering with the judge and get on about the business of defending your case.
And how would they have gone about that anyway, when it's her decision?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, but you can appeal it at the end of the day. It can be an appellate issue that you preserved to say she abused her discretion. It's a high bar.
Somebody else could decide.
But for a judge, Guy, from your experience, what do you think a judge would go through their mind to go, you know what, maybe I should?
Well,
when do you think that happens?
When and I've never filed a motion to recuse a judge. I've never felt the need to, so I can't speak from direct legal experience. But I think sometimes it's when there might be some financial connection, right? There involves a party the judge has a relationship with, financially or otherwise, a family connection, something where a judge says, you're right, I probably can't be impartial on this. But just for whatever reason, you're choosing to rule against me much more consistently than you are against the other side. Therefore, you're biased. That's a tough argument to make. And I don't think any judge is typically going to go, well, you're right, I'm biased, as opposed to just ruling the way I think I ought to rule on motions.
And the original judge did step down. Fran Gull is not the original judge in this case.
It seems like he was a little out of his league.
He said
it's a different set of circumstances.
Yeah, Benjamin Diener, I believe it was his name. He cited the public bloodlust, was his words, for information in this case as threatening his staff and their lives. He said a whole bunch of things like that, so that's why he backed out. So that's, anyways, that was a point from back then.
Any update? I mean, the court's not going to allow cameras in court.
Oh, so that was a great part of her motion the other day, her filing. So one of the things that the defense has said is that, hey, Judge, you have the ability to allow cameras in the courtroom. Yes. Fran Gull was a part of the pilot program, and she is also known in Allen County for being a leader, has received awards and achievements for leading technology in courtrooms throughout her entire career, dating back to the late 90s. So the judge says, hey, how come the only time you've allowed this to be broadcast is the day that we were disqualified? And that was one of the points that they tried to get her on. And she says that that hearing that cameras were allowed in Allen County October 19th of last year when the defense was disqualified, she says that one media outlet, she didn't name who, but one media outlet basically ruined it for everyone. Someone broke a rule of broadcasting this thing, and so she has completely lost faith in any media to cover hearings at all at this point. And so that's why this is paper and pen. All reporters, all of us will be paper and pen. There's no broadcast or delayed broadcast of any hearings. We finally have it from the judge's mouth of why that's not going to happen.
It's like the old school scenes in movies where reporters and sketch artists are scribbling, and then you rush to a payphone or something like that, or in this case, updated version, a cell phone, and start giving, reciting what happened in trial. Would you rather have, as a defense attorney, Guy, are there benefits, are there disadvantages for a client to have cameras in the courtroom?
Depends on my case, depends on my witnesses.
It all depends.
Depends on my client. How's my client come across? How do my witnesses come across? That is a case-by-case analysis. There's never been a case where you'd say, there's never been a situation where I would ever say, I always want cameras in the courtroom. There may be, because of who my client is, who my witnesses are, I definitely do not. Others, absolutely. It just depends on and how I think my case is going to come across to the public. But Donnie, one thing you reported on last time we had a conversation while I was here is there was all these series of motions on what evidence can and cannot be introduced at trial. And there's some really important ones, right? Like they've said some evidence, the defense has said some evidence is tainted.
Like Richard Allen's prison statements.
Yeah, so some of the big motions that still need to be decided before this October are what evidence will be allowed. The prosecution does not want any mention of Odinism. The prosecution does not want any mention of third-party suspects. The prosecution wants the defense to only defend based on just Richard Allen, and anything that has to do with him on that day. No, nothing else.
Just, you mentioned Odinism. Maybe refresh everybody.
Yeah,
What's
so
that theory?
Odinism is this religious thing that's based on Norse mythology, human sacrifices, and the defense says they have plenty of evidence and suspects that were involved in the Delphi area that are actually involved in the murders of Abby and Libby and not Richard Allen, right? So that's what the prosecution wants. And again, on the other side of that, the defense wants Richard Allen's prison statements to be suppressed. And those statements were apparently multiple times he admitted to killing the girls, but they call that problematic because he admitted to shooting them and sexually assaulting them, two things the autopsy does not support.
Wow.
Yeah, but I tell you, interesting stuff. Like on the potential alternative suspects, alternative culprits, that's a tough one because something you can always use as a defense attorney is the idea that there is reasonable doubt as to whether my client committed this crime because there's evidence that somebody else committed this crime. And alternative suspects, alternative bad guys are almost always is going to be fair game for a defense lawyer to bring in. So that's going to be interesting in terms of how that comes out.
Guy, what about, and we'll end it here, the unspent shell casing?
Yeah.
That was found.
Unspent bullet to complete cartridge.
Yeah.
Okay, unspent bullet that was traced back to Richard Allen's gun at his house. Is that the main piece of evidence, Donnie?
That actually is the main piece of hard evidence, and a lot of people are still arguing about whether or not that's a junk science, whether or not it's credible or not.
Well, I can tell you exactly what we're talking about there because it's a complete cartridge. It's not been fired. So by cartridge, I mean it's got the bullet in it, it's got the shell casing, it's got the gunpowder, it's got the primer. It's the whole thing, just like you'd buy it, except it apparently had been in the chamber of a gun and then ejected. When you eject a cartridge out of a gun, the ejector and the gun itself leaves a mark on that cartridge. And they say through tool analysis, they can match up the ejector in a gun to the marks on a cartridge or a shell casing that's ejected out of that gun. And the prosecution has experts that are going to come in and say, yes, that cartridge was in Richard Allen's gun, And the prosecution, exactly as Donnie just said, is saying that's complete junk science. You cannot say that to any kind of reasonable degree of scientific certainty. The defense is going to say that you cannot prove that to any kind of reasonable degree of scientific certainty, which is the standard. So that's going to be a fascinating discussion. And oh, by the way, if the girls were not shot, what's the explanation for why there's a complete unfired cartridge at the crime scene? That just sounds odd to me, too.
There you go. That's one of the big ones there.
Donnie Burgess, WIBC News, covering everything Delphi. Great work. Where can we find out more information?
WIBC.com.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show. Thanks, guys. Well, I'm here to warn you, if you're filing for Social Security, it isn't just about your benefits. No way. This decision that you're making about your Social Security could have a huge impact on your taxes, your IRA, your 401k withdrawals, even your Medicare premiums. And if you don't consider all these things when you file for your benefits, man, it can mess everything up and cost you a small fortune. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy, right here in Indy.
If you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. Bill simplifies the decision for you and helps ensure you get every nickel out of your benefits. Get that free analysis right now by calling 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120.
Baseball games and road trips. That's why I love the summer. That's why I'm glad I'm a AAA Hoosier Motor Club member, because they help deliver on both. AAA is now the official insurance partner of the Indianapolis Indians and sponsor their fabulous Friday night fireworks at Victory Field.
Going to Victory Field is always a winner. And did you know you can win with your insurance thanks to AAA? Yes, the same organization that delivers roadside assistance plus travel discounts and planning is also a full-service independent insurance agency. A AAA agent will shop several different companies on your behalf to get you the best price on your auto, home, or life insurance. Special discounts are available when bundling home and auto, as well as savings specific to AAA members. So do yourself a favor. Join AAA today and take advantage of their insurance offerings. Visit AAA.com to find and get connected with an insurance agent near you.
We used to argue about whose turn it was to clean the gutters, but then I had Leaf Filter gutter protection installed.
Wait, I told you Leaf Filter had free inspections and estimates and a lifetime guarantee.
Meaning we never have to argue about whose turn it is to clean the gutters again.
But I visited leaffilter.com/beacon first.
No, I did.
It doesn't matter who. Visit leaffilter.com/beacon to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
You forget something?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to be able to pick up Braden tonight after practice.
Oh, did something come up at work?
Nah, not even going to make it in today.
Why? What's going on?
Well, I'm coming up on some construction in about a quarter mile. I've already started ignoring the signs. In a minute, I'll force my way through traffic while texting. I'll pull the wheel a little too far and drive right through the barrels where I'm going to hit a few workers. One of them is going to get killed, so then I'm going to be arrested and charged with vehicular manslaughter.
No one plans on having an accident, but you can plan to avoid one. Read the signs. Slow down. Stay alert.
This is Kelly Watson, business manager of Labor's Local 1112. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down. Save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Up to 50% off on all of our windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. It's our great granddaddy of a sale.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Would you like fries with that? Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Matt Bear, my man, what's going on?
Westbound 70 is stopped from 465 into the north split, moving in parts not by much. This is because of traffic rerouting around the southeast side closure. Okay, so it's westbound 70 on a 43-minute delay. That's just 70 alone. Southbound 65, 70 from the north split down to the south split also has it bad as you continue down to Raymond Street. That is stop and go traffic. On the south side, crash eastbound 465 before I-65 in the finish line construction zone. And we do have a lane blocked there with traffic stop back to Kentucky Avenue. Delay time 70 minutes. 2 right lanes blocked right now in that crash on eastbound before I-65. Traffic sponsored by B Window. It's a great granddaddy of a sale at B Window. Up to 50% off all windows, doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. Trust your home to B. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Allison, do not let me forget to give away these Olympic trials tickets.
I'll get the sign ready.
Get the sign ready because I will forget to give these away towards the end of the segment. It is 82 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center on 93 WIBC.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
Guy Relford is filling in for Hammer. What should you do when you have the world's largest collection of fossilized poop? That is the question. They're calling it a museum. A museum. You open a museum. That's what they're saying. At least that's what George Franzen did. He dubbed his newly opened museum in Arizona, which offers visitors free access to approximately 8,000 pieces of made-up fossilized poop collection. This guy actually quit his job at a large healthcare company. He sold his house. He moved 2,000 miles to Arizona to pursue his passion of fossilized poop. Here, not only that, actually, do we have time? Yeah, we got time. There's a jingle for this poop museum.
Stand right up, folks, and gather near. There's a museum that's sure to cheer. From T-Rex turds to Stegosaurus scat, it's a fossilized poop. Imagine that. Dino dung, prehistoric rock. Take a gander and you won't stop. It's dino doo-doo, ancient poop. It's fossilized poop just for you. At the Fossilized Poop Museum. Fossilized Food Museum.
So,
Guys, Relford's face right now is just pure regret being on the show today.
8,000 pieces of fossilized dinosaur poop that you could go see at this museum. This guy, again, quit his job, and fossilized poop became his passion. What a great country we live in, right, Guy?
You know, the single dumbest idea for a business I've ever heard in my life. I mean, you know, fossils and archaeology and all that. I mean, that's all fascinating. But fossilized poop? Yeah. And I'm sorry, you know, you're going to wake up, you know, some Saturday morning with the kids going, what should we do today, man? Should we go to the pool? You know, should we?
I think my kids would want to go to the Fossilized Poop Museum, actually.
Oh, they would not.
All right, we're up against the USA Swimming Olympic Trial tickets. Family 4-pack to the finals of the USA Swimming Olympic Trials. Goes to caller 9-239-9393.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at Universal Windows Direct, and there's an incredible deal going on at Universal Windows Direct. But before I get to that, one of the things I love best about Universal Windows Direct is that Universal Windows Direct backs their work up with a true lifetime warranty as long as you own the home and a 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. Now let's get to this great deal going on with Universal Windows Direct. Call today, 317-659-7574. Schedule your free at-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get the next 2 free. Buy 2, get 2. Buy 4, get 4. Buy 20, get 20. There is no limit. Oh, and on top of that, you can get 0% financing for 36 months. That's 3 years. Now, some restrictions apply, so call today, 317-659-7574 for all the details. Universal Windows Direct. See it all for yourself on the web at uwd.com, uwd.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Terry Stacy here. Honey Baked Ham isn't just for the holidays. Stop in for lunch and choose from handcrafted sandwiches, salads, soups, and more. Or take home a heat and serve family meal that comes with a home-style main dish, sides, and rolls. Perfect for a busy weekend night and better than fast food. Have a special event this spring? Let Honey Baked cater with sandwich trays or a VIP buffet with all the extras. Honey Baked on West 96th Street in Indy or Greyhound Pass in Carmel makes it easy to serve something special any day of the year.
Hey, Pat Sullivan here, letting you know that when you need plumbing help, call who I call, my friends at Hope Plumbing. Not only are they experts in their field who respect the true value of customer service, they also love giving back to this community, which is evident in their referral program. If you refer a friend, Hope Plumbing will give you a $50 gift card to a local restaurant. Great plumbing and supporting local restaurants. What more could you ask for? Visit hopeplumbing.com or give them a call at 641-HOPE.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of a cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
C&J's water softener promotion gets your entire system ready for summer. Trade in that old water softener now and get up to $500 towards a new one. Hard water causes all sorts of problems, dry skin and hair to clogged pipes and water stains. C&J's water softeners help prevent issues and keep your water running all summer long. Take advantage of C&J's trade-in promotion and upgrade your water system today. C&J Water, great systems and great people too. Call C&J Water at 317-733-SOFT. That's 733-SOFT.
Brace for the Indiana heat with Chapman Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. Get your AC tune-up for enduring efficiency and comfort. Visit ChapmanHeating.com.
Remember, Chapman, the man for all seasons. ChapmanHeating.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, why you're not in the clear from today's storms yet. A homeless man turned his sock into a weapon and used it on a cop, and why Indiana Republicans say parents have more freedom over their child's education for this school year. That's all coming up after Fox News Radio from the Technology Recycler Studios. You are listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
Doing nothing is not an option. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's part of President Biden's explanation for new restrictions on asylum seekers when crossings surge at the southern border.
This action will help us gain control of our border, restore order into the process.
The president using the same authority then President Trump used for a so-called Muslim ban, which was challenged in court. The ACLU plans to challenge this, too. Fox's Bill Mallusion near the border in California.
It essentially says if a 7-day average happens where more than 2,500 people per day are caught crossing the border illegally, it triggers this order, which suspends and blocks asylum.
That's only, though, for people crossing illegally.
This is not going to stop or slow the up to 1,500 migrants per day who are being released into the country by showing up at a CBP port of entry with an appointment on a cell phone app called CBP One.
And there are other exceptions, including for unaccompanied minors, which some Republicans argue just gives traffickers a loophole. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says the president could have acted months ago.
The policies he pursued created the crisis at the border, and it will not be solved by any executive step that he takes this late.
President Biden says Congress still needs to act and that he's moving past Republican obstructionism after a bipartisan border deal was blocked. Day 2 of Hunter Biden's federal gun trial just wrapping up in Delaware. He's accused of lying about drug use when he bought a gun in 2018. The prosecution playing parts of Hunter's audiobook about his past crack cocaine addiction for the jury.
A dramatic moment with jurors hearing his own words discussing his addiction. His sister Ashley Biden seen getting emotional while the First
lady put her arm around her.
Fox's David Spunt at the courthouse in Wilmington. The defense says he was abusing alcohol, not drugs, when he bought the gun, also raising questions about the federal forms used. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Not done with the rain yet. 77 degrees, mostly sunny at the Circle. The radar currently shows most of the rain from earlier this afternoon is out of Indy, but there could be more tonight. 69 is your low. I'm Harrison Silcox for the Michaelis Corporation. Here's what's trending at 5:02. There's still a chance for some scattered thunderstorms tonight.
You're close enough to hear the thunder. You're close enough to be struck by lightning, even if it's not raining where you are at that point in time. So you want to get yourself inside a sturdy building, away from windows until long after the storm's passed.
Joe Deal with the National Weather Service says storms are expected to continue into Wednesday. A homeless man with a history of not getting along with police added to his record. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Jonathan Reinhardt is a homeless man in Indianapolis. 4 years ago, he was convicted of throwing bodily waste on a cop. This week, he flagged down an Indy Metro cop to tell him about a person driving a car who was harassing him. As the cop took the report, Reinhardt pulled a sock full of glass out of his pocket and hit the cop in the neck with it. Reinhardt was arrested, and the cop was treated at the scene and released. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A Greenfield police canine was hurt after a police chase Sunday night. Patrick Mix initially didn't stop for cops who say they tried to pull him over. When he did stop the car, Mix took off. He ran. Canine Ace was sent after him, but was hit by another car on accident. Mix was eventually arrested. Ace is expected to be okay. During the next academic year, a record number of students have used Indiana's school choice program. Wes Woodward reports.
70,095. That's the number of students that used the program last school year. Indiana's school choice program is designed for parents to send their child to the school that best meets their needs.
This means parents can choose the school that best meets their students' needs, whether that's public school, private, homeschool, or other options.
That's Indiana House Speaker Todd Houston of Fisher speaking about the program on the Indiana State House Republicans Weekly podcast. Parents can apply for these scholarships for the 24-25 school year before the September 1st deadline. Wes Woodward, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
Michaelis presents Password. The word is basement. Okay. Wet.
Rain.
Leaky.
Faucet.
Stinky.
Socks.
Moldy.
Underwear.
What? It's basement. Really? Moldy underwear?
Well, sometimes.
Ew. I did not need to know that.
Basement waterproofing and French drains. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Make it Michaelis.
Come on, take your basement back. 844-FIX-INDY.
With traffic on the 5s at 5:05, here's Matt Bear.
All right, Harrison. Westbound is 70 stopped in parts from 465 to the North Split. We are bumper to bumper as traffic reroutes around that southbound closure on the southeast side. Southbound 465 only. And delay continues on southbound 6570 downtown from the North Split down to Fletcher Avenue, then slow down to Raymond Street. South side eastbound 465 crash before I-65. 2 right lanes blocked. Report of down power lines in the area. Traffic stopped all the way back to I-70. Delay time now over an hour and a half, 91 minutes to be precise. Eastbound 72 downtown, stop and go traffic. Sam Jones Expressway into Meridian, Illinois. Southbound 65 to the North Split, stop from MLK. And then we look at the northeast side. Westbound 465 stop and go traffic from Keystone Avenue over past Michigan Road. Northbound 465 stop 79th up to 865. Traffic sponsored by Mr. Quick Home Services. Attention Indy homeowners, is your cooling system ready for the heat? Don't sweat it. Mr. Quick Home Services has you covered with their special $89 cooling tune-up offer. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Scattered showers and storms possible for tonight. Our low temperatures in the upper 60s. A cold front swings through on Wednesday, brings another rain chance. High temperature of 80 degrees. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it.
My name is Nigel. Guy Relford, Second Amendment attorney, licensed firearms instructor, filling in for Jason Hammer. He is host of the Gun Guy Show, author of Gun Safety for Dummies. Did I get that right?
Yeah, absolutely. That is out of print now. We are sold out. Yeah, and I'm trying to arrange for a reprinting.
Okay.
But, we sold that for, 10 years, and we sold them out.
Saw you on cable news earlier this morning talking about the biggest story in the country right now, or I guess it should be the biggest story in the country until Joe Biden announced his executive actions on the southern border.
Right. Yeah.
Happened to be on the same day that opening arguments that were delivered in the trial of Hunter Biden on the gun charges. And it's also a big story because it's the first prosecution of a sitting U.S. president's offspring. We've had a lot of firsts here in the past couple of weeks in this country. The first felony conviction of a former president, and now we have the first prosecution of a sitting U.S. president's offspring. You were on TV discussing this morning. You are a 2A attorney. How would you defend Hunter Biden if this was your case?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think the actual strategy his defense team has mounted is pretty damn smart, and I think it's the same tack I would take, which is...
he's charged with lying about his illegal drug use when purchasing a handgun.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
Right.
You have to start with what he's accused of, and that is lying on the form. When you go to buy a gun, you have to answer a series of questions. One of those is, are you a user of or addicted to illegal drugs? And he checked no. And the prosecution's theory is that at the time, based on his book, based on his media interviews, based on messages he received and sent from the infamous Hunter laptop, that's going to come into evidence that he was using cocaine and addicted to cocaine at this time. What's interesting is the defense has said that the prosecution, in order to win a conviction in this case, has to prove that he was actually intoxicated on illegal drugs at the time he bought the gun. And they said that's the requirement of the law. And the judges said, well, no. They only have to prove, the prosecution only has to prove that the person, or in this case Hunter, was generally in the time frame using illegal drugs or addicted to illegal drugs. I think his drug of choice was cocaine at the time. And what's interesting is the prosecution probably can't prove that he used cocaine that day, that he was intoxicated, that he was high on cocaine at that time. Mm-hmm. So the fact that the prosecution can turn around and say, oh, no, generally you were using or addicted at this time frame. But what that allows the defense to turn around and do is to file a motion to dismiss the whole case at the end, because they can say then that statute is unconstitutional to the extent it does not require you to be intoxicated or high on drugs at the time you commit the act, in this case lying on the form, because there's not a history and tradition. Under the new text history and tradition test the Supreme Court has given us, there's not a history and tradition of denying someone their Second Amendment rights if they're not intoxicated at the time that they exercise those rights.
He's going to walk, isn't he?
They could put the prosecution in a real trick bag here, a real catch-22. Either they can't prove their case, or the case they do prove turns out to be unconstitutional. This could be really interesting at the end of the day.
12 jurors, 4 alternates were chosen yesterday. What do you think of a former Secret Service employee on the jury, as well as several members of the jury have said they have family members with histories of substance abuse. One man seated on the jury said he was an acquaintance with the First Lady, Jill Biden, who was at the jury selection yesterday. As a defense attorney, what do you think of those prospects?
Well, it's interesting, because as we talked a little bit about on Monday, Gun Day yesterday, the term jury selection is really a misnomer. You don't, as a lawyer on either side, you don't select a jury. You deselect the jurors you think are worse for you. In other words, the people that come into the courtroom are summoned more or less randomly, and your job as a lawyer is to identify those people that are the worst for you. and you have a limited number of challenges to get those people off the jury. So you're getting rid of the people that you think are the absolute worst for you, and you're left with everybody else. So when somebody says, wow, why would the prosecution ever allow a former member of the Secret Service to sit on the jury? Well, that's because there was somebody else who would have replaced them on the jury. Who was worse, right? And you can't draw too many assumptions because, okay, your immediate reaction is someone's a former member of the Secret Service. You're thinking, well, that means they work with senior government officials. That means they're going to be tied into them. They're going to look up to them, respect them, whatever. That's not necessarily the case. The people who may know how completely flawed our government officials are may be the members of the Secret Service because they spend time around them, and the old adage of familiarity breeds contempt. So you don't, just because he's a member of the Secret Service doesn't mean he's in love with the government officials. It could be just the opposite. So we don't know. There's a lot left unknown in this. And I don't think we can draw any assumptions.
I'm telling you, there's some sketchy stuff going on. Joe Biden had this behind closed doors sort of secret meeting with Hunter's former girlfriend, which is the widow of his brother, Beau, last week. Now, she is a witness in this trial. Yeah. She allegedly tossed a handgun in the trash behind a restaurant near a school. Now, they are saying that, well, it was the anniversary of Beau's death, and Joe Biden went to visit her on the anniversary. He's never done that before. The records do not show that he's ever done that before. Who knows what they were talking about? And the fact that Jill Biden, I mean, is that a problem? I know it's Hunter's stepmom. She's there for support, but she's also an acting mouthpiece for the White House. Is that appropriate for her to be there?
Well, I don't know that you could ever say it's inappropriate for a mom to attend the trial of her son, right? I mean, that's where we're starting. But then you go from there to say, is she trying to exert undue influence on anyone, whether it's the jury, anybody in the community, the judge?
Joe Biden stuck around in Delaware Monday instead of going to the White House.
Yeah, and
when jury selection was going on.
Yeah, you think he wants to intimidate people involved in this trial just to know the President of the United States is in town watching what you're doing? Yeah, I can see that. But this meeting between Joe and a witness, she's identified as a witness. She will testify. And listen, witness tampering is a serious crime. You can do 10 years in prison. If you meet with someone, you communicate with someone, you're trying to influence their testimony, that's a crime. We, of course, don't know whether Joe Biden did any such thing. But it doesn't have exactly the same feeling, Nige, as when Bill Clinton met with Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General, right in the middle of the Hillary Clinton investigation, where they're determining whether they're going to charge her with a crime or not.
On the tarmac?
On the tarmac in Arizona. And all of a sudden, Bill Clinton and the Attorney General are having a secret meeting where nobody else was present. It just has that exact same feeling to it.
Miranda Devine, who was part of the Hunter Biden laptop from hell story, who broke that story from the New York Post along with a friend of the show, Emma Jo Morris, who worked for New York Post and now with Breitbart. She calls it wise guy messaging. The fact that Jill is there and that Joe was there yesterday, didn't go back to the White House. Quote, Joe Biden's looming presence in the strange small city leaves nobody in any doubt of the message he is sending to Delaware Special Counsel David Weiss, the prosecutors, the judge, the jury. Quote, you mess with my son, you mess with me. And so I'm assuming, I mean, that's pretty good analysis. I mean, it's speculation, obviously.
Yeah.
So is he going to go to jail? I mean, you've seen people go to jail for filling out checking all the things that Hunter Biden's been accused of, trading on his dad's name. Ukraine,
making
Burisma,
millions and millions
of dollars, funneling into dozens and dozens of LLCs. And you think he's going to go to jail on this? He checked the box that says he's not a drug user on a federal form to buy a gun.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the federal government says they're tough on gun crime, right? I mean, right? Yeah. But right no. I mean, look, again, lack of criminal history. Yeah. I could see him doing a little bit of time in Club Fed if he's convicted. I'll tell you what, based on this strategy the defense has of saying he's either not guilty of the crime because they can't prove intoxication at the time, or the statute's unconstitutional, they got a real shot at winning that. That is a legitimate strategy.
Matt Bear, what's going on with traffic?
East side westbound 70 is just brutal right now. 465 into the north split, stopped in parts, barely moving bumper to bumper. And right now the lead time is running 43 minutes as you make your way from 465 on the east side into the north split. This is a reroute around the southbound 465 closure on the southeast side. Continuing on the reroute, southbound 65 at 70 stopped from the north split down to the south split, then slow down to Raymond Avenue. Southbound 65 also stop and go before MLK into the north split. And eastbound 70 slows after Sam Jones into the south split. South side eastbound 465 is trashed between I-70 to I-65. That's because of a crash blocking two right lanes. Delay time is now 91 minutes. Traffic sponsored by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Train Heating and Cooling Systems are engineered to keep up with you. They run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
If you're a Marion County resident, if you're a law enforcement supporter, these numbers coming out of IMPD are very, very troubling. We'll give you an update in terms of recruitment and retention. That's coming up next. 82 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center, 93 WIBC. Guys, if you're feeling tired, if you've got like some sort of lack of motivation and drive, you're just not feeling yourself, you're gaining weight, you notice a loss of muscle mass, it could all be signs of low T, low testosterone, and you should not wait to find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site labs, you get the results back in 25 minutes. Low T Center. It's not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with a customized treatment for each patient.
And at the Low T Center, your BMI and health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So the Low T Center really is your one-stop shop for all things men's health. Sleep apnea, they can check you for cancers, weight loss medication. To live your best life, go to lowtcenter.com and book that appointment today. lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at the Bath Authority, and there is so many awesome things going on right now with the Bath Authority. I hope I can fit it all in 60 seconds. Right now, call today, 317-532-5711. 317-532-5711. Schedule your free in-home estimate, and you're going to get $1,500 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. That's right, $1,500 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. Now, some restrictions apply, so to get all the details, call today, 317-532-5711. And get free installation on your new shower or bath. That's a lot of great stuff going on with the Bath Authority. So to recap, call today, 317-532-5711 to get $1,500 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing and free installation on your new shower or bath. TheBathAuthority.com, a better bath awaits.
It's Kubota Orange Days. Shop the year's best selection of Kubota tractors, zero-turn mowers, and utility vehicles, including the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA. And now, through June 30th, get zero down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $2,800 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Fishers and Indianapolis to see their full line of Kubota, or visit them online at McAllisterKubota.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
My name is Nigel. Guy Relford, Second Amendment attorney, licensed firearms instructor, host of the Gun Guy Show, filling in for Jason Hammer. So, Guy, I know you're an ardent law enforcement supporter. I got this text from a mutual friend of ours, FOP President Rick Snyder today concerning the staffing level at IMPD and the retention level and the deficiency. IMPD is now at a staffing level of 1,465 officers.
Yeah.
That puts Indy down 375 cops, and the numbers keep plummeting. Not only that, assaults on law enforcement in the United States reached a 10-year high. In 2023, last year alone, there were more than 79,000 attacks on officers. Average of an officer shot every 23 hours in 2023, and more officers killed from criminal acts in the last 3 years than any other time in 2 decades. And if you're a law enforcement supporter like you are, like I am, these are very, very troubling numbers.
Well, they are. And, you know, those kinds of attacks on officers and the dangers these officers face is troubling enough. But, you know, when I see those numbers, Nige, that, you know, IMPD's down almost 400 officers, you know what I can't help but think about? I can't help but think about the IMPD officers who tried to do their jobs during the Summer of Love,
sure,
who tried to stop riots, who tried to arrest rioters, and ended up getting prosecuted themselves.
Yes.
Where the Hogsett administration and the police chief and the Marion County prosecutor threw them under the bus when they were just trying to do their jobs. And listen, when you're facing the kind of threats and the kind of dangers that you just went through with these number of attacks on officers and a number of officers shot, and your own city, your own administration, your own chief won't stand behind you.
City County Council?
I mean, why would you put yourself through that? I get it. I totally get it. And by the way, another number, and I won't quote a number, but another issue is that a very large number of IMPD officers are older and are actually eligible for retirement. And so those numbers could get much worse very quickly if these guys these men and women decide to go ahead and take retirement.
Well, I texted Rick back. I'm like, what can we do? What is there anything I could do? Is there anything this show could do? Is there anything the city could do? He just wrote back, we've got to retain the cops we have and stop the bleed. Then figure out how to get new ones to come here, all contingent upon competing with other agencies and closing the revolving door in Indy. When he says other agencies, it means police departments in Donut County saying, hey, they're mistreating you here. The administration, the Hogsett, and the prosecutors don't care. They love that revolving door of the criminal justice system. That doesn't happen here in Johnson County. Come here and work. This is where we appreciate cops.
I saw those recruiting efforts, man. It was on social media. You saw it in Hamilton. You saw it in Howard. You saw it in Hendricks. You saw it in multiple agencies. We're out there saying, we won't treat you like they do in Marion County. And that comes right back to one level of responsibility, one area of responsibility, and that's this administration.
Do you have the booze news sounder loaded up, Allison? Let's do some booze news.
You set him up and I'll knock him back, Lloyd. One by one.
We are gonna read booze news because it's really fun.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
Nigel presents
Booze News, Booze News. Time for Booze News. Dateline, Muncie, Indiana. Guy, a 39-year-old man named Bo Burchell was sitting in his car last Thursday. He saw a delivery truck full of beer. The beer pulled up outside a bar, probably making a delivery, right?
Yep.
Delivery truck full of beer. So he thought to himself something along the lines of, you know, if I stole that truck, I could open my own liquor store and sell all of that booze to pay off my drug debts.
Yeah.
So he did just that. Successfully stole the truck along with that steer. It was they had those skid steer loaders on the back.
Yeah, sure.
Spent hours dismantling the security systems and GPS devices on both. But unfortunately, something like that big of a item, you also have to hide the vehicles from being spotted, and he wasn't able to do that. Police found his delivery truck in a field behind the club, and he was found under some nearby.
Yeah, and this is in Muncie.
This is in Muncie. This is making national news. Now, the stolen skid steer had a value of $60,000.
Yep.
The box truck was worth $50,000, and the alcohol was still inside. Police say there was $12,000 worth of assorted beer and liquor. This guy was booked on several felony theft charges.
Yeah, well, the first thing is I just want to establish for the record, this is several years after Jason Hammer left Ball State University. So despite your immediate assumptions, there is no connection there whatsoever. But, Nigel, it occurs to me there's a very fine line between doing something that's just rather hilarious that will make you immortal among your friends and compatriots, and doing something really stupid that lands you in jail for a really long period of time.
His idea was, okay, I'm going to steal this, sell it on the black market, or open up my own speakeasy type liquor store, and then I'll be able to pay off my drug debts.
Yeah, your drug debts.
Wow. I mean, off the top of my head, I'm just saying, that's kind of a smart idea. It's a dumb idea, but this guy has these ideas floating around in his head. What if we put those ideas to good use, is all I'm saying.
Exactly. I mean, but haven't you ever been right in the middle of something where you're thinking, this is really stupid, this is really stupid, this is really stupid? I'm having the impression of this guy right in the middle of this going, it's probably not the brightest idea I've ever had.
Can you get me the audio, Allison, of the would you try a cicada cocktail? That we were supposed to do it in Is This Anything We Didn't Get To It? A bar in Chicago. Why do people want me to eat bugs? Whether it's the government, whether it's these climate cultists, so anyway, a bar in Chicago is selling $5 shots of what they're calling cicada-infused booze. Each shot comes with a cicada in the glass that you're supposed to eat. Here's the group trying a shot for the first time.
Cicada bullets! I did it! I videoed it. Oh, baby, look at those cicadas. How many do I get in my shot?
You get one.
Just one? Well, I'm going to chew the cicada.
You have to chew them.
Swallow it. How's the texture?
Stop giving me bugs to eat. I don't want to. The closest thing I've ever, my kids thought it was pretty funny that I bought them a sucker with. Have you seen those suckers with the little scorpion that's inside the sucker? You never seen those before, Allison? You know what I'm talking about? Those clear, pink suckers with a little scorpion inside of it?
Yeah. Are they dried scorpions or something? That they're,
but it's a real scorpion?
Yeah, encased in a sucker. They're at museums all the time.
Would you try a cicada shot if presented to you?
Well, I'm rather adventurous on these things. In fact, my wife still talks about the fact we were at a Mexican restaurant on the north side of Indianapolis on 82nd Street, and the special was a cricket taco.
No.
And you could actually get a variety of tacos, and so you could get the pork asada and the beef and whatever. And I had a cricket taco.
Was it crunchy?
It was very, very crunchy. In fact, that was the biggest problem my wife had with it. Is she goes, I don't care that you choose to eat that thing. I cannot stand listening to you crunch it. As you're eating
had the legs stuck in your teeth.
You know what? You and AOC can eat all the crunchy cricket tacos you want, guy. Okay.
But you know what? If I was at a bar and they had a cicada shot, I'd be the first guy.
I'd have to take the wings off.
No, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's tee that sucker up.
Do you want to do Ask the Gun Guy?
I'd love to. Absolutely.
Guy Relford is my co-host today. Hammer is out. Guy Relford is a 2A attorney. He offers legal advice on 2A related issues, gun safety issues.
You bet.
Anything that might be on your mind 2A related, call now, 239-9393, 239-9393. Ask the Gun Guy. We'll do it right after a look at the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He wants a fair shot. Cloudy at 82 in the circle. Radar clear after dealing with some rain earlier this afternoon. 69 degrees. That's your low tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:30. Libertarian Donald Rainwater believes he's being unfairly prevented from participating in one of two live TV gubernatorial debates. He's not sure if Republican Mike Braun really wants any spirited competition.
If Mr. Braun has to do it his way, to me, that calls into question whether he represents Hoosiers or not.
Rainwater tells WIBC's Kendall and Casey his supporters deserve to have their party represented in both television debates. President Biden issued an executive order today that's going to try and slow down illegal immigration. Fox's Jared Halpern reports.
President Biden says he would prefer Congress pass legislation, but with a bipartisan proposal twice blocked.
I'm moving past Republican obstruction and using the executive authorities available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border.
Those authorities include triggering asylum restrictions when illegal crossings average more than 2,500 migrants a day, a figure eclipsed by current figures. Republicans have largely criticized the action, calling it a political stunt. And some immigrants' rights groups are signaling court challenges, accusing President Biden of following Trump-era policies. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
You may have already gotten some rain today, but you could get more before we get to tomorrow.
We do have a fairly humid air mass in place, quite a bit of moisture in the atmosphere, so these storms will be capable of producing some pretty heavy downpours. Not expecting really high speeds with these storms.
Joe Neal with the National Weather Service says rain should be gone at some point Wednesday. More families will have more choices over their child's education next school year. That's according to Indiana Republicans, reports Wes Woodward.
During the past school year, a record number of students used Indiana's school choice program. Over 70,000, in fact, used the scholarships worth up to 90% of a student's public school tuition funding. Those scholarships are available to nearly 97% of all Indiana families. Indiana State Representative Bob Benning of Indianapolis on this week's Around the House.
Every child deserves to attend a school that meets his or her unique needs.
The deadline to apply for these scholarships for the 24-25 school year is September 1st. Wes Woodward, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
With traffic at 532, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, let's look at the reroute here around the southbound 465 closure. Stretch of interstate closed on the southeast side till late June. And right now, westbound 70, this is the reroute stopped from 465 all the way down to the south split and slow to Raymond Street. Delay time right now we are looking at, it's going to be about an hour to make your way through that according to my notes here. On the south side, eastbound 465, crash before I-65, two right lanes covered. Reported power lines being down with traffic stopped all the way back to I-70. That is a delay time of 77 minutes. Back to the north split, southbound 65 stopped after 38th Kessler down to the north. A split delay continues down to the south split and eastbound 70 slow to downtown after Sam Jones Expressway into the south split. Traffic sponsored by B Window. It's a great granddaddy of a sale at B Window. Up to 50% off all windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. Trust your home to B. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Scattered showers and storms possible for tonight. Our low temperatures in the upper 60s. A cold front swings through on Wednesday, brings another rain chance. High temperature of 80 degrees. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Yeah, I'm Nigel. Guy Relford, host of the Gun Guy Show here, filling in for Hammer. He's a Second Amendment attorney, licensed firearms instructor, and it's time for Ask the Gun Guy. If you have a question for Guy Relford, 2A related, gun safety, whatever it might be, 2399393. You got the callers in front of you there, buddy.
I do, man. We got a bunch of them. Let's go right to the phone lines, and Dale has called. Dale, welcome to Hammer Nigel, man. What can I do for you?
Holy crap, I made it on. First of all, let me just say this real quick. Love both your shows, Guy's show and Hammer Nigel show.
Right on. Thank you, man.
I've been trying to get a hold of all of you ever since I've been listening to them for the last 5-6 years. Here's my question. I kind of like to drink. And I know I'm kind of having one now. I'm kind of like you guys.
Good for you.
Anyhow, I know we have this castle doctrine. And if I'm in my house and I'm having a few and someone busts in and I put them down, am I more liable or less liable? Or what's the law on that?
It's a great question, Dale, and I can tell you exactly. And that is, in some states, not including Indiana, but in some states, if you have any level of alcohol in your system, you can't possess a firearm. You can't possess a firearm while you're even having a cocktail. Indiana doesn't have that law. So let's say you're 3 sheets to the wind and somebody kicks in your door. They legally break into your house. You defend your home. You defend your life and your family. There's really no relevance to the fact that you've had cocktails at that point, to the extent you were otherwise justified in using deadly force to defend yourself and your home. It's irrelevant. Now, I will always say, and I say this to anybody who asks me the question, if you're having cocktails, it's more likely than not you'll make a mistake and do something that's not justified and do something that may be, irresponsible or negligent or whatever else simply because you've had a bunch of cocktails. And but to the extent that what you did was justified because someone unlawfully broke into your home, you don't lose that justification just because you've had some cocktails. Let's go back to the phone lines, and Michael is called. Michael, welcome, man. What you got for us?
So, I have my gun permit. I've had it since about 2009. I recently acquired a self-defense weapon, a pistol. Underneath the instructions that I can keep it in my house and protect me, but my father wants me to take classes before I carry it in public.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any recommendations on the classes to take? It'd be more like gun laws and safety, or mainly the laws. And then that will also be for my girlfriend as well.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, I'll mail you your check for $20 here in a minute, Michael. But I just posted a class I call Essentials of Indiana Gun Law, and if you go to my website, it's tactical-firearms.com. But that's 5 hours of all the legal issues you need to know if you're going to be an Indiana gun owner. If you want a shooting class, I mean, I offer private classes only now. For one or two people. If you want a group class, there are a lot of good places to go take classes. My favorite right now is Indy Arms. That's where I teach a lot of classes. I have a relationship with them. So, full disclosure. But Indy Arms, go to indyarms.com and click on training. They've got great, like introduction to handgun, defensive handgun, shotgun, defensive shotgun. They've got a whole bunch of classes. But on the legal issues, I'm going to be arrogant enough to say that you probably want to come take my class because I'm the only one doing that kind of class with the kind of experience that I have. Let's go back to the phone lines, and Mike is called. Mike, welcome, man.
Hey, Guy, how are you?
Good, man. Thanks for calling.
Absolutely. So, here about I want to say it's been about 3 months now. I bought a Century AK-47.
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, is there something wrong the way that I've been treated by some people? Is there something wrong with a law-abiding gun owner owning an AK-47?
You say toting an AK-47?
Owning, yeah.
Owning. Well, no, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the AK-47. I mean, it's
AK-47 sounds menacing. It's
well,
just,
sure.
It's
yeah.
like the movie treatment.
Oh, yeah.
AK-47, Nigel, I'll tell you what, that thing is a blast.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, an AK is just...
So what are you self-conscious about?
Well, yeah, and I'm sorry, and I put Mike on hold, but no, there's absolutely nothing wrong with owning that gun as long as you're legally able to buy guns and possess guns. So unless you're a prohibited possessor, and frankly, it's more or less a European or particularly Soviet version of the AR-15. There are people out there right now upset with me for saying that, but it's a semi-automatic rifle that's perfectly appropriate for self-defense purposes, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with owning one. A lot of people, want to wave their hands around and start talking about assault weapons, just like they do around the AR-15. But the AK is one of the uber reliable guns on the planet. It's a 7.62 caliber. And there have been a lot of wars fought, and a lot of people successfully using those in a lot of conflicts, and so there's absolutely nothing wrong with owning that firearm as long as you're legally able to possess firearms. We still got some time in this segment. Let's go back to the phone lines. David has called. David, welcome to Hammer and Nigel.
Hi, I'm retired firefighter and concrete truck driver, and we had drug tests on some drivers, and the ones that failed were maybe 3 or 4 or 5 days from a weekend of having cocaine. Would Biden's son have a time frame in there when he made that form out?
I'm not sure I fully understand the question.
Okay, the question is, when he filled the form out, how did they find out? First of all, how did they find out he was a drug addict?
Oh, okay. All right.
What's the time frame of him filling that form out illegally?
Well, that's a great question, David. A couple of things. The how they figured out he's a drug addict is because he wrote a book and said he was a drug addict in this exact time frame. He gave media interviews that said he was a drug addict at this time frame, and he sent and received messages off his laptop that said he was doing drugs in this time frame. So that's how they're going to prove that. But more interestingly, and Nigel and I have talked about this during the show today, the question becomes, did he actually have to be using drugs or intoxicated on drugs, high on drugs at the time he bought the gun? And if the government doesn't have to prove that, they just have to prove he was using drugs in that general time frame, is that law, as it applied to him, constitutional at that point? That's a whole separate question. But that's how that case is going to turn on those two issues. Let's go back. I think we got time for one more before the break. Let's go to Terrence has called in. Terrence, welcome to Hammer and Nigel, man.
Thank you. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
And to you, sir.
Hey, so my question is kind of twofold. I have been convicted of 4 felonies, but they're all DUIs. So, dumbass, but whatever. All of my weapons are...
Oh, did we lose him?
Oh, yep. Nope. I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
still here?
Terrence, I'm sorry. We may have lost you there for a minute. I heard all of your weapons are
stored at a friend's house out of my county, and I want to know how long it is from my last conviction until I am able to try to get a what's the word?
Expungement.
Yes, sir.
It's 8 years.
My last conviction was 2019.
There you go, man. 8 years. So in 2027, you give me a call if I'm not retired on a beach somewhere. We'll go expunge those and restore your rights. And that's eminently doable. But you need 8 years with a clean criminal history before you're able to do that. And Nigel, I think we're about ready to go to a break, aren't we?
4 DUIs. That's probably hopefully our last caller put down the bottle for good.
Well,
after that,
but he hasn't had anything since 2019.
You're right.
He's 5 years clean. Hey, anybody can change their lifestyle.
Love it. All right, keep calling 239-9393. Ask the Gun Guy continues next. Well, if you're at that age, you're looking to file for Social Security, heads up, because it's not just about your benefits. The decision could also have a big impact on your taxes, your IRAs, your 401ks withdrawals, even your Medicare premiums. So if you don't think about these things when you file for your benefits, it could needlessly cost you a small fortune. Hopefully that got your attention. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy.
If you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. Bill simplifies the decision for you and helps ensure you get every nickel out of your benefits. Get that free analysis right now by calling 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120.
If you live in central Indiana, you probably use, work, or live near I-70 and I-65 within the I-465 loop. And chances are, you have an opinion on how those interstates could be improved. If so, Propel Indy wants to hear from you. Propel Indy is an opportunity for you to envision the future of Indy's urban interstates. Central Indiana is home to a world-class transportation system that links businesses, neighborhoods, and attractions together. But most interstates inside the I-465 loop were built more than 40 years ago and will need to be modernized for Indy's continued growth. With your feedback, Propel Indy will gain a greater understanding of community needs and ideas for improvement. Whether you live in a neighborhood near I-70, use I-65 for your daily commute, or attend events downtown, Propel Indy wants to hear from you. Share your ideas at propelindy.com. You can help propel Indy towards a more transformative tomorrow with a bold vision to modernize Indy's interstates and enhance the community for generations to come. Learn more at propelindy.com.
Attention Indiana homeowners. Are you dealing with a wet and moldy crawl space? Hi, I'm Adam Swain with Swain Co. Crawl Space and Basement Repair, your real, local, Indiana family-owned experts dedicated to fixing your crawl space right the first time. And with our new no interest, no payment financing, you can get the repairs you need without breaking the bank. Don't let crawl space water problems dampen your spirits. Call Swain Co., Indy's most trusted waterproofing experts at 317-407-1868 or swaincollc.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
We used to argue about whose turn it was to clean the gutters, but then I had Leaf Filter gutter protection installed.
Wait, I told you Leaf Filter had free inspections and estimates and a lifetime guarantee.
Meaning we never have to argue about whose turn it is to clean the gutters again.
But I visited leaffilter.com/beacon first.
No, I did.
It doesn't matter who. Visit leaffilter.com/beacon to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Get inspired by new stories and ideas with Audible's incredible selection of audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. There's more to imagine when you listen. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com.
Matt Bayer, what's going on with traffic?
Westbound is 70 jam traffic right now from 465 all the way down through the south split, and this is because of the closure on the southeast side. So traffic right now delayed for about 48 minutes and change with that southbound 65-70 closure. On the south side, eastbound 465 crash in the construction zone before I-65. Two right lanes are taken out, and traffic is jammed all the way back to I-70, virtually stopped here as we are on a 106-minute delay to make it from I-70 over 265 on the south side. Traffic sponsored by B Window. It's a great granddaddy of a sale at B Window. Up to 50% off all windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. Trust your home to B. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
82 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. I'm Nigel. Guy Relford filling in for Jason Hammer. He is the gun guy. He's a 2A attorney. And we got about 5 more minutes for Ask the Gun Guy, if you'd like to continue, Guy.
Yeah, let's get right back to the phone lines. And Randy, welcome to Hammer Nigel, man.
Hey, Guy. Thanks for taking my call, man.
Sure. Okay.
Pleasure to talk to you. This question comes from a hypothetical conversation I was having with my son. So say you're maybe out taking a walk, whatever the case is, and you're alone, you're carrying, and say something happens to you, heart attack, get hit by a car, whatever, and you've got to have the EMTs come get you. You're going to the hospital. And like I said, you're packing heat. So what's the protocol there? Is there somebody? Do they have a protocol at the hospital? Do EMTs have a protocol to handle your firearm and that sort of thing?
I can tell you exactly, because I've been through this with a lot of friends and clients, and that is, Randy, that the first thing is they'll hand it over to law enforcement. And there's, usually if any kind of accident and whatnot, there's a law enforcement presence. They'll hand it over to law enforcement. The bad news is if you're in Marion County, the property room of IMPD there in the city county building is god awful. They will take forever to process your gun. They run ballistics on it. They run a serial number check on it to make sure it's not stolen. And only then does it go into the queue to be released. And then they're actually requiring proof of ownership in Marion County. We got to show up at the property room with a receipt to prove that's your gun, even though somebody took it off of you. Somebody said, okay, this is Randy's gun that we're taking off of Randy because he's going in the ambulance right now, and you still have to go in and prove in Marion County that that's your damn gun, even though you're the one they took it from. It's ridiculous, and I'm talking to several different parties about potentially suing IMPD in Marion County and City of Indianapolis over exactly that issue because they need to fix that. But that's how it works here in Marion County. Let's go back to phone lines. Chris, welcome to Hammer and Nigel, man.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, man,
that guy that assaulted the cop with the glass, with the sock full of glass. I mean,
yeah.
Do you think they're actually gonna do anything to that guy, or he might be out on the street right now? Who knows?
They damn well better. I mean, that was a news story on the top of the hour, guy.
Reason why I'm so worried about it is my son lives downtown. He lives right there in R3 apartments right there on Washington East Street. He's got a barber shop right there on New Jersey and East Street, and all the homeless people they hang out right there in the parking lot by there, and they just. I mean, most of them don't mess with you.
Let's hope that guy gets justice, because that guy that they arrested accused of throwing feces and waste on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and I didn't know what story we were talking about. But yeah, no, I mean that's clear. There's actually part of the battery statute deals with throwing human waste at people. That's part of the battery, which makes it an aggravated battery potentially. So no, I think it was a crime the way it's been reported anyway, and I think it'll be treated just as that. But thanks for calling, Chris. Back to the phone lines. Got time for one or two more. Mark, you've been on hold for a while. Welcome to Hammer and Nigel.
Thanks, Guy. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
There it is.
I don't know why that always makes me laugh, but it always does.
Great.
Got about a minute left here, bud.
Okay, AR barrel length. I'm building an upper, and I chose a 14.5-inch barrel.
Yep.
Will I need to get the end piece welded on, or can I leave it just a screw on?
No, you cannot. In order for it to meet the minimum length requirement, so it is not an SBR, S short-barreled rifle, it needs to be 16 and it needs to be tacked and welded, so it needs to be permanent. So, I'm not a guy that can do that myself, but I would take that to somebody who can tack it and weld it and do a good job, make it look good. But it's got to be permanent, and just screwed on will not get you there.
An entire hour of the Hammer and Nigel show, including the gun guy, Guy Relford, filling in for Hammer, is coming up after 6 o'clock. We'll be right back. 93 WIBC.
The only real estate expert, I'll repeat that word, expert, I'd trust to sell my home and find me a new home is Mark Dietel. I'll give you the perfect example. Luke and Emma in Franklin bought some land. They started building their dream home, but then they had to sell their old place at the right price. Make sense? That's where Mark Dietel and his team came in. They got him multiple offers in the first weekend. They closed in 25 days. It was stress-free and easy with Mark Dietel.
Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert that we trust and we recommend here on the Hammer and Nigel show, and it's because of the guarantee. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. You pick the move date, no long-term contracts. What are you waiting for? Call Mark Dietel today, 317-755-4232, or go to markdietel.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
And you probably already know about Jay's Lobster and Fish Market there in the Garage Food Hall, Bottle Works District, downtown Indy. What you may not know about is their brand new hot honey-fried lobster roll. Check out Jay's Lobster and Fish Market. It's incredible.
Also in the Garage Food Hall is Palavana Cubano, the best Cuban restaurant in Indy, and a hill that I will die on is that their Cuban Reuben is the best sandwich in Indy. Overall, Palavana Cubano, the Garage Food Hall. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hi, this is Malia with Family Heating and Air, and as a mom myself, I know it's really important to keep the kiddos healthy. Air quality, humidity, those are super big issues on my concern list. If you share any of these concerns, give family a call, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out?